Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett, and welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we question the F out of everything. Happy Hump Day. We're on day 20 of the Lindsay Clancy case. Hello, chat. We have lots to cover today, and in real time, trial is supposed to start at 9. They usually start at 9:30, 9:45, and there should just be this final witness, this guy. Wait till you see this guy. Oh, we're winding it down, guys. We're winding it down. I think charge conference today probably, and closing arguments tomorrow. We'll see. Let's talk about it. Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm smart.
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy Hump Day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
the
I
joylessness
don't
of
give
those
a
people.
fuckiness. Blah.
Hags.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
We're gonna go members only.
Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off. Something's off.
Good morning, everybody. Nurse Mandy, member for 2 months. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Nurse Mandy. So glad you guys are here. Let's see, housekeeping stuff. Well, like I said, tomorrow we're going to have closing arguments. So my plan is I will probably be streaming live. Well, not live. We'll be a little behind. But my plan is to come on around noon tomorrow and then stream it out. So I hope you'll join me. We'll be a little bit behind so we can speed things up a little bit, but closing arguments are supposed to happen tomorrow. We just have to get through this very tedious witness. And I don't know. I think Kevin Reddington's head might explode today because this guy, as far as I understand it, we're going to watch a little bit, but I think he has some sort of a speech impediment that causes him to speak very, very slowly. And it's hard. I'm glad that we're going to be able to speed it up a little bit because it's hard to listen to. I feel bad for the jury that this is the last witness. And in fact, let me show you what this guy looks like. Let's put him on the screen right quick. So this is Dr. Gregory Satoff. He... This guy is a psychiatrist. He's the FBI's he's on the FBI's behavioral analysis unit. A lot of inconsistencies so far in his testimony. Very stilted, very weird. He met with Lindsay Clancy twice over Zoom. Yep, that's what we know. So, and this is what I think he looks like. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think he looks like the eagle. The Muppet Eagle. Don't you think? Don't you think? No? Yes? Anyway. All right. Other housekeeping news. Rebecca and I are going to be on tomorrow, but we're switching up the time. We usually do mornings on Thursday. But tomorrow we're going to be doing 5 p.m., which will be good timing because court will be finished for the day and we can chat about that. We got some stuff to talk about. I'm going to let Rebecca. I have purposefully not shared the Reddington to Petro confrontation outside of the courtroom because Rebecca's the one that sent it to me and she wanted to go over it. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But I did have, let me pull up my links. Hold on a second. I found this interesting. A couple of things. I want to talk about the green dress lady, Brittany Romano, I think her name is. And so I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about this. Let me share this screen with you. Remove my Sam Eagle from the studio. I wish that my computer wouldn't shake so much. Okay. This was a tweet I saw yesterday, and I want to read it out to you. So this is by, where did it go? This is by Victoria B. George Esquire. She goes by that juror lawyer. This is her. And she had some stuff to say that I found very interesting. I'm going to read this tweet thread to you guys. It's a little bit long, but bear with me. Victoria says, unfortunately, Shannon Buckingham and I attended the same law school. Now, if you don't know Shannon Buckingham's name, it's usually because I call her Frick. She also is known as Bo Peep. Someone on the internet came up with the term for the Commonwealth attorneys, and ummer, which I think is mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful. Anyway, Victoria went to law school with Bo Peep, Frick. And this is what she had to say. They posted about her on Facebook and I responded. I don't know who they is. Maybe their law school. I'm going to have to look that up. As I've been asked more than a few times about how I feel about the Clancy case, I figured I'd post my reply as a thread. I'm a little late responding to the particular NUSL post. Okay, NUSL. Let's look that up really quick. Hold on. NUSL. Did NUSL post about Buckingham? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Northeastern University School of Law. Eek. Shannon Buckingham, 2011, is one of the 2 assistant district attorneys prosecuting the case against Lindsay Clancy in Plymouth Superior Court. Buckingham has served in the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office since 2011 and currently chairs its Family Protection Unit. I had no idea. Wow. Okay, I'm like looking at the internet while I'm talking to you guys. This is fascinating. So there's an article from Northeastern. Actually, let me pull this up before I get into Victoria's tweets, because this is fascinating too. Share screen. I don't want the Cape Cod Times. Okay. So this Northeastern reposted this from Cape Cod Times. The Cape Cod Times, down the Cape. And it says, Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Shannon Buckingham are prosecuting the case against Lindsay Clancy, blah, blah, blah. Clancy is accused of killing, blah, blah, blah. Clancy's defense attorney, Sprague and Buckingham from the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office represent the Commonwealth as Assistant District Attorneys, or ADAs. Sprague and Buckingham have been taking turns questioning witnesses throughout Clancy's murder trial. Here's what to know about the prosecutors. According to her profile, she's tried 28 homicide trials and more than 40... I would love to know what her conviction rate is. And more than 40 Superior Court cases involving sexual assault, firearms, narcotics, domestic violence offenses, as well as hundreds of district court cases. She got her bachelor's degree in political science from Bridgewater State Rep in 1999, and her Juris Doctorate from New England Law, Boston in 2003. She was admitted to the bar on December 12th, 2003. During the trial, Sprague has presented several pieces of physical evidence, including the children's pajamas. But this is Buckingham. This is who we're talking about here. And this is who Victoria went to law school with. Bo Peep herself. Maybe that's why these guys are on this case. She serves as chief of the Family Protection Unit at the District Attorney's Office. Buckingham earned her bachelor's degrees in political science from Stonehill College, 2003, her Juris Doctorate from Northeastern in 2011. She was admitted to the bar on November 14th, 2011. Oh God, here we go. In the prosecution's opening statement on July 27th, Buckingham noted how Cora, Clancy's 5-year-old daughter, liked to wear large bows in her hair. Buckingham has worn several bows in her own hair throughout the course of the trial. Of course she has. That's it? That's what you guys have to say about her? Okay. So, it seems to me that Victoria is responding to this article. And she says, I'm a little late responding to this particular NUSL post because we have 4 young kids, including toddler twins. I'm very short on time, and it took me a bit to figure out I wanted to respond. I'm genuinely disappointed to see Northeastern promoting this. I will always be grateful for the scholarship that allowed me to attend NUSL. I loved NUSL, and a huge part of that was what the school stood for: public service, fairness, integrity, and the idea. Wait, did I not put this back up on the screen? No, of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. Sorry. And the idea that having power as a lawyer comes with an obligation to use it responsibly. The Commonwealth is obviously entitled to prosecute cases. Here, given the information I had, the Commonwealth was entitled to prosecute Lindsay Clancy and put on its evidence in an effort to prove criminal responsibility beyond a reasonable doubt. That being said, this prosecution has been conducted in a way that I certainly do not stand behind. Asking a witness, quote, "You're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin," end quote, as Miss Buckingham, NUSL 2011, did, presents an obvious evidentiary problem. It is not just something I personally find offensive. In my view, it also presents an ethical problem. Religious doctrine had no proper place in that line of questioning. Judge Sullivan has since made clear that Clancy's religion and a witness's understanding of Catholic teaching are immaterial and irrelevant here. Unfortunately, that was not the only time improper references to religion entered the Commonwealth's case. The rest of my objection is much simpler and less legal. A lot of this trial has just felt cruel. Everyone knows what happened to these children was horrific. Lindsay Clancy has acknowledged causing their deaths. The central disputed question the jury has to decide is whether she was criminally responsible when it happened. I do not understand the need to repeatedly subject her, their family, and frankly, the Massachusetts public to every possible gruesome detail of this nightmare. Amen, sister. That's what we're doing over here on this channel. Trauma-free trial recaps. I do not believe all of it is necessary to answer the central disputed question, and I'm certain no one needs to be convinced that the deaths of Cora, Dawson, and Callan were horrific and devastating. There's a way to prosecute a serious case vigorously without making someone who is already suffering more than most of us can imagine suffer even more. Prosecutors have enormous power. No shit, they do. And restraint is an important part of exercising that power. Amen. NUSL choosing to celebrate this particular example of alumni lawyering struck a nerve for another reason for me, and it would be disingenuous not to be upfront about it. I'm also a recent NUSL alum, NUSL 2020, who served as pro bono trial counsel in another high-profile Massachusetts trial, the Karen Reed trial. I did that work 4 months postpartum with those aforementioned twins. Northeastern never acknowledged it. I did not do that work for recognition, and I certainly do not think the school needs to post about every alum involved in a newsworthy case. But if NUSL is going to choose which examples of high-profile alumni advocacy it celebrates, I think those choices say something about the kind of lawyering the school wants to hold up as an example. That does not feel like the Northeastern law I attended, and I hope for better in the future. Integrity matters. Now, if you'll remember, this is Victoria George, and she was a juror on the first trial, and she actually joined Karen Reed's defense team on the second trial to sort of talk them through, you know, what the jury was hearing and how they were experiencing the trial. So she's sort of a big figure in the cases that we cover. And so I found her statement to be her statement about Northeastern promoting what Buckingham has been doing in this courtroom. I found it fascinating. I'm so glad that people like Victoria exist and that she's speaking up. And I just wanted to highlight that because I thought it was very interesting. Okay. What else can I tell you? Like the video. I can tell you that. Go like the video. We need likes. We need to get this story out to more people. And the best way to do that is to hit the like button. Good morning, Ben Burnett. I'm really behind on the chat, so give me a second here to get caught up. If you would like to send us some Clut Cash, the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal are at the top of the screen, as well as a QR code. It is also pinned in the chat. And Rebecca says to remind you all that if you have mispronounced Kelly Devers' name before, you owe us a $5 Clut Cash toll. And Well Hung Jury, I love your screen name. Thank you so much for the 1,000 jewels. I would love to know what the GOAT trophy looks like, but I'm not in the chat myself. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Sue. Hey, Pimabo. Teacup, good morning. Lady Harlot's in the house. Lady Harlot, I ended up lurking in 2 separate Reddit posts about this case yesterday that didn't have the most toxic and ugly comment section I've ever seen. I was so proud. LOL. I am happy that you got through that. I can't do it. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Emily EC. The Goodmans are in the house. Stacy, good citizen Weymouth. Hey, Steph. Good morning. Did I miss yesterday? Mima asks. You must have. I don't know. Did you? We're going to be watching the closings kind of live, D-Cools. I'm going to come on. I have a standing training session that I have paid for up front, so I can't get out of it, on Thursday mornings from 9:30 to 11:15. So I will start streaming on Thursday at 12, and we'll be behind the closing arguments, so we'll be able to go back and do it not live, but on the same day. So I'll start at 12 tomorrow. And hope that I finish before it's carpool time. School has started here. I don't know if school started for you guys, but yesterday was the first day of school, and let me tell you, there's a new law, there's a new rule here. I don't know if it's just specific to Maryland, but the high school where our kids go has decided that they are not allowed to be on their phones all day. They're not allowed to have their phones out, I guess, or accessing them even on like lunchtime. They just aren't supposed to be on their phones, and that was messy yesterday, to say the least. That was ugly. All right. Good citizen Weymouth. Coffee gives me life. Same. Jack Mack. Good afternoon from Scotland. Where are you in Scotland? We just had a trip there in May, and it's my favorite place ever. AKA Bethany, good morning. Despite the look on my face, good morning. Out of work hairdresser. Hey, y'all from Oklahoma. Welcome. Good evening from Australia. Sad to lose Dolly today from the world that needs more Dollies. Maisie. Yeah, that happened while we were on yesterday, and I was a little devastated. Not a little, I was a lot devastated. And I'll share this with you guys again, so if you weren't here. Dolly Parton was a huge influence on my life, and I love her very much. And let's see, where did I put it? Desktop. And this will show you proof that, hold on. Dolly. There it is. This was me. Halloween, 5 years old, dressed up like Dolly Parton, wearing my grandmother's wig, my grandmother's dress, my grandmother's bra, which also had cantaloupes in it. This is how they sent me off to kindergarten. And I was obsessed with Dolly, and she changed my life. And I've loved her since I was 5 years old. And yesterday was a really sad day for me. We did a little 30 seconds of silence, because it's hard for me to be quiet for more than 30 seconds. But yeah, I'm very, very sad. Dolly did a lot for this world, including children's literacy. If you don't know about Dolly's library, go look it up. It's pretty amazing. She was an amazing human being, and the world his morning today. Good morning, Amanda. Mima said, my 3 and 4-year-old grandchildren tell me, stop dancing, no music playing. Yep, I have earbuds in. It's funny. Tomorrow is the continuation of Lally's questioning by Rosemary Scapiccio. I cannot wait for that. Let me get this off the screen. Yeah, we'll be covering that probably tomorrow night. So we got a lot to talk about tomorrow night. I hope that is televised in some way so that we can watch it. But Rebecca and I will be on tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern, to go over the closing arguments and to go over the Adam Lally testimony if we get to see it, and the DePietro video. Let's see. At Lynette Martinez, good morning. Weird girl, hey. Jesus, he looks evil. Maisie says, are you talking about the witness? Dr. Gregory Satoff. He made me rage. So despite the look on my face, has already watched the testimony. Good morning, beach girl. Yeah, I saw the line this morning outside of the courthouse. They should be starting here shortly. Probably, well, in an hour or so. It's the same picture, Miss Hotkins says. Accurate. That was amazing. Hilarious. DePietro got owned. Hey, Mel and everyone. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Lindsay loves plants. Good citizen Weymouth. I've already said hello to you. Robin says, DePietro earned that moment. Long time coming. I couldn't agree more. Law school tea. Yep. So, yeah, Victoria's a really interesting character. She's the one who, like I said, she was on the jury in Karen Reed 1 and was appalled by what was happening and waited a year after the mistrial and then contacted the defense. My fan is really... It's chilly here today, which makes me very happy. Salawalaway. Did I say that right? Hello, sweeties. Hello. Oh, interesting. Lindsay loves plants. Meh. I'm also a fan of NU. I'm also an alum, of NU. Husky forever, but that seems mild. Likely an intern media relations person just reposting media of an alum that's not following the case. Could be. Thanks for the 10 jewels at Lena Martinez. I couldn't agree more, the other Emily. The other Emily says, sorry I'm late. She should absolutely not be allowed to wear those bows in court if she made the specific reference to the child wearing them. That's prejudicial in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to find... Let me see if I can find any other pictures of Shannon Buckingham and if she wears bows in other trials. Because I remember the pretrial hearings, and I don't recall her wearing bows in those pretrial hearings. Of course, every picture now of her is of her wearing bows. Oh, eesh. Definitely not wearing a bow in this picture. Wow. Wow. Hold on. Oh my. I don't know what to do about it. I feel horrible even talking about her hair, but it really gets under my skin for some reason. This is Shannon Buckingham on a different trial. I'm not going to tell you the name or the title of this article because it has words that we don't want to put on the screen. This is Shannon Buckingham. I don't see a bow in her hair here. Let's see what else I can find. Yeah, the fact that she's wearing a bow, I think that's specific for this trial. And I think that I agree. It's gross, A. And also, she shouldn't be allowed to wear it. The jury shouldn't see it. Let's see, old cases. Let's see if she's wearing a bow that I can find. I'll have to look later. Or you guys can look and send me pictures. But yeah, she's probably wearing a bow because of this case, which is such bullshit. Good morning, Mama of a Medic. Glad you're here. Good morning, Genuinely Tonic. I'm looking at a chair and rocking chair from Northeastern University in my living room. Good citizen Weymouth says. Good morning, my fellow Aquarian, Cindy Lou. My mnemonic of never say Dever does not seem to work. Never say Dever. Now I'm confused. It's Dever, not Dever, right? Yes, this is true, Pamabo. Victoria did a great interview with our beloved Emily C. Everyone should see. Agreed. The lawyer talk sub is the best one for reasoned discussion. Okay, thank you, Daylight. Not Nan in the house. Rachel's in the house, and she is not Nan. She is a lovely, lovely human being who isn't trying to throw money around so that she can get some clout. And she's throwing money around because, well, she's super generous and she loves us, and I appreciate her. I'll just say that. And her inner lesbian. Fly like Jeff, been in school for, wow, been in school for 3 weeks already, Jeff? Beginning of August, your kids went back? Wow. Oh, wow. Genuinely Tonic says, I'm taking Thursday, Friday off so I can watch all the closings. Do I have a problem? Nah. Dunfermline. I don't know. We were in Edinburgh. I can pronounce that. Oh, thanks, Mom of a Medic. It's my lovely home. Hello? Hi. Good morning, beautiful. Let's see. Thanks, Mom of a Medic. My hairdresser says the same thing, and I really appreciate that as a woman of a certain age. I'm 50. All right. Penny, good morning. Good morning from Texas. Right on abs. Right on abs, right on aves. I adore that picture of you. Thank you. Kelly, good morning. All right. Good morning, Kimberly from Texas. R.I.P. Dolly. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Jenny from Melbourne. I can appreciate that my entire office of different cultures and age gaps were all sad about Dolly. She's an amazing person. Fly like Jeff said she was. DePietro, Honey Kid, Kevin Reddington went off, like totally went off on him outside of the courtroom yesterday or the day before. I don't remember when. And we have the video. Nate Eaton from that Ohio newspaper. Is it Ohio? East Idaho News. Nate Eaton recorded the interview, and it's not even an interview. DePietro like throws a question out. Reddington doesn't realize it's DePietro when he starts answering, and then he's like, "You," and he goes after him. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. It's supposed to get up to 101 today in Texas. That is why I no longer live in Texas. I haven't lived in Texas for a very long time. Good morning, Melon Chat. It's a be as kind as Dolly day. Another normal mom says. Jenny says, ready for Reddington's last witness roast. Yeah, this one is going to be painful, you guys. I actually haven't seen anything because he's doing the cross today. I can't even imagine how he's going to suffer this fool. Wish your dreamer, Mom. Got early after school and made it to the live. Better late than never. Thanks for covering this with us, Mel. Of course, I'm glad to be here with y'all. Her hair is greasy and filthy. You said it, not me, Michelle. Yeesh. I don't feel horrible. I'll do it for you. I feel like she wakes up at her mother's house and her mother puts the bow in. Oh, that sounds right. That sounds right, another normal mom. It's so we can tell her apart from the other one. Is Shannon a shot putter? No, I don't. In my expert opinion, I don't think that Shannon is a shot putter. I'll be honest with you. We don't claim her. But also, I think that another normal mom is probably closer, that she might live at home with her mom and their cats. Nothing against cats. And that her mommy puts her bow in her hair every day. Does she not get paid enough to see a hairdresser, Darlene says. The bows are prejudicial but they are really bad bows. She looks so dumb, Robin says. Holly, thanks for becoming a new member. We're so happy to have you. You're gonna have to come back on Mondays for our crossroads. Last week was a shit show because I took a gummy before I came on, which was probably a mistake. Good morning, E Chase. The other Emily said, "Damn girl, heard of shampoo." I don't mind commenting on her appearance because she's evil. That's a good point. I think that's Rebecca's rule. If you're evil, we can make fun of the way you look, I guess. I always call her Deaver. Well, you owe us $5 then, another normal mom. Yes, my boys started August 13th early this year. Yeah, I guess. Hey, Linz. Yeah. Did you know that some kids started school at like the beginning of August? Yeah. I had no idea. Well, they get out in May. What? They get out in May. It's crazy though. It's crazy. Darlene said here in Canada, school usually goes back the day after Labor Day. Afternoon from Wales. Hello, Welshie. Wait, who's from Dunfermline? Dunfermline. My ancestors are from there. I am not familiar with this case, Mallory. Mallory says, Mel, you're familiar with the Jared Bridgen case in Florida, one of the co-conspirators on trial right now. I am not familiar with it, but I will check it out. I'm also hearing a lot about this Keefe D case, which apparently sounds like a shit show. One of our listeners sent us an email saying that we should do it for Crossroads because it's so crazy. And I've seen clips. I saw some clips from Samantha Beningo's channel. She covered a little bit of it, and I was like, how is this working? How are we getting through these days in this case? It's crazy. Fly Like Jeff said, a friend went to Scotland because if she has to turn 40, she's doing it in Scotland. That's a great reason. She also hyped up a restaurant that just serves cheese. We went to a restaurant that just serves the most decadent breakfast foods. And it would be like waffles. It would be like, when you go to those Bloody Mary bars, or they have Bloody Mary like brunches where you get a Bloody Mary, but it's an entire meal on top of it. That's comparable to this breakfast restaurant. You basically get a waffle or whatever as your base, and you stack it up with a meal on top of it. And it was just so amazing. We also went to, oh shit, what's the name of that restaurant? It's Bombay. It's food from Bombay, and it was the best restaurant I've ever been to. The food was stunning. We're going to be in London in November, Lindsay and I, and we plan to go to the restaurant that's in London, the same one we went to in Edinburgh, and I cannot wait. It was the best food I've ever had. Yeah, this is just as a little spoiler for when we talk about DePietro tomorrow. Jules says, you're a biased weasel, which is what Reddington said to DePietro. What did I start calling him? I said it in text to Rebecca, and I gotta remember what I said. Hold on. I gotta find it. Where did it go? I called him something, and it was really funny. And now I don't know what it was, but it was funny. Maybe it's over here. I don't know where it is. All right. Getting sidetracked so easy to get. Emily C is in the house. Emily C is our only mod against Rebecca's wishes. Fun fact, DePietro was a freako creepo to Victoria George. She loved that clip. I bet she did. Misty Owltree, morning. Thank you for your perspective on the case and current events. You've pulled me in while recovering from C4, C7 oh my God, fusion surgery. Ugh, Misty, that's awful. I hope that you are feeling better and that you're recovering. Let us know how you're doing, of course. Thanks for correcting the pronunciation of Melbourne. You're welcome. I was like, Melbourne. That's like when people who are not from New England pronounce Concord. So I understand. Okay. Yes, exactly. Lady Harlot. Mel Barrett, lesbian expert lesbian. This is true. These are facts. I've been doing this now for 40, 35, 40 years. Yeah. The cross roasts are the best. Wait, one of them has kids. What does that mean? What do you mean by that, Lori? Good citizen Weymouth says, I had it out with JD in front of the courthouse in Dedham. JD is John DePietro. The dumbass was telling a woman she could not sit on the wall at the deeds building. It was designated just for press. God, he is insufferable. He is a male Karen. Amy said, Mel, it was great and so fun on members only. Maybe fun for you. I have no idea what happened. We need a mild safe space for evil. I agree with this, Dr. Jen Toxic. UK kids go back September. Yeah, I feel like when we went to school back in the ancient times, we started in September, but that was also New England. So I don't know if that was because of, snow and snow days and all that stuff. I don't know. The real sisters in crime said, oh my God, you guys are making me laugh so hard about the hair and the cats in her mom's house. It's 5:30 a.m. here and my house is going to wake up because I'm too loud. Whew, thanks for being up with us. That's early. I've been up since 5:30 myself, but I was definitely not on camera or talking to a bunch of folks on the internet. Okay, I got to get through these. I've been doing this for 36 minutes. I ate chicken and waffles for the first time last night. It was Chick-fil-A, but it still counts, right? Yeah, I guess. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. Mel, are you going to Aiden's thing? Oh yeah, so Aiden announced, I think it was yesterday. So they're doing another show. I don't think it's going to be at the Wilbur, but they're doing another show. Aiden and Jimmy and Emily C. And I heard that the date was a secret, but then Aiden said it. So I don't feel bad about saying that October 30th is the next show. I'm very excited about it. I am going to try. That's what I will say right now. Because I have to, obviously I've got to fly in, I got to get a hotel, I got to do all those things. I'm not a part of the show, though I would love to be. But I will, if I can, I will definitely try to be there. So I'll keep you guys updated. I know Rebecca won't be able to be there because she's going to be on vacation. Yes, Dishoon. Yep, Dishoon is the name of the restaurant. Thank you, friend of dog. Dishoon is my favorite restaurant of all time. They have a pop-up happening right now in New York City, and I think the London restaurant might have been the first in Europe. I cannot wait to go back to London and also go to Dishoon. Or I've never been to London, actually. Can't wait to go to London, and I can't wait to go back to Dishoon. Let's see. I feel like one of the DAs has kids. That doesn't mean she's not a lesbian. Lesbians can have kids. I'm a bonus mom. And then there's also babies that come from turkey basters. So I want teacup. Oh boy. I bet you got some in trouble for this. I once pronounced Haverhill the way it's spelled. The reaction from the person I was speaking to was hilarious. Most people pronounce it Haverhill. Haverhill. You have to say it with a southern accent because that's how it would be in the South. But up in the Northeast, it's pronounced Haverhill. Let's see. Karina. My kids in northern Germany went back to school last week. Amy said, Mel, when I gummy, I am very similar. Well, then I'm sure you enjoyed it. All right. Oh, it's your favorite restaurant too? Yes, London. I just absolutely love it. If you guys have a chance to go to a restaurant called Dishoon, Dishoon, definitely go. If you like Indian food. This is Indian food. This is Bombay style. And some of it's pretty spicy, but oh man, I love spice, so I'm good with it. Oof, it's so good. When I was young, we started school in September. Yeah, me too. Sprague had a kid with a man she's not with, so that actually answers 0 questions. Yeah, I guess the straights aren't claiming them either. I guess you're right. Another normal mom. Okay. Here we are. We got 315 folks in here. Y'all should go like the video. Go like the video, please. Appreciate ya. And if in your head, if right now in your head you are pronouncing Kelly Dever, you owe us a $5 collect cash toll. So, okay, good to know. Trishna. All right, I'll check that out, friend of dog. Cheapest are $79, Darlene. What does that mean? Darlene. Oh, tickets are $250. Oh, this is for the show. Emily's in the house. She knows probably what's going on, so she can tell us what's happening. Tickets are $250 VIP, $125, $99, $89. I'm missing one price. Aiden's show prices. Thank you. And then cheapest, Jules says cheapest are $79, Darlene. Okay. Let's get into what happened yesterday. Best clut I've ever belonged to, and I've been in a cult. Kellis Bella said. Like a real cult? Fascinating. Fascinating. Yep, Rachel, this is absolutely right. You are a parent, mom, or dad that shows up. Bottom line. I learned that pricing at the same time you all did, Emily sees. Yeah, because he just spilled it yesterday. It was supposed to be a secret. It was supposed to be a secret, but he's Turtle Boy, so you know how that goes. All right. Let's get into it. So I wanted to express to you guys. So we've been doing this. We've been covering the Lindsay Clancy trial. We've been trying, I'm calling it the trauma-free, #trauma-free trial recap. And how do I describe it? I mean, most of you are here understand how we've been doing this, where I try not to show any testimony that has to do with the horrific things that happened to these children. We're focusing on the insanity defense from Lindsay Clancy. How's my mic today, by the way? I adjusted it a little bit, but let me know. Emily says he's kept the venue a secret and it's very good. Yeah, I wonder how long that'll last, him keeping it a secret. But I've been hearing that the venue is very good. So thanks for letting us know. Mike is better. Okay. So I've been trying to keep you guys away from this testimony that involves graphic detail about what happened to these poor children. Usually it's the prosecution who is making a mockery of these children's deaths. And what I mean by that is they're running with this, they're running with this theme that they're there only for the children and that everyone should be horrified, which we all are, without having to see what happened to them or without having to hear what happened to them. But they are trying to play on the emotions of the jury, and I'm sure it's going to work for some people. Hey, Miss K. And so this coverage was a little bit difficult today because this guy so matter-of-factly went through what happened. But before we get to him, so I'm going to be skipping over some of his testimony, which you'll thank me for anyway, because it's really difficult to listen to him. We started off the day, however, with the continuation of the direct cross of Dr. Kirk Heilbrunn, who was the Drexel University forensic psychologist. Let me pull up Heilbrunn. This is the scene outside of the courtroom. These are the people waiting to get in yesterday. I think it's a bigger crowd today. God, they must be sitting there forever. I wonder how Bob's doing. I wonder if he has any way to get in that's better or easier. All right, so we're back in court. We got Heilbrunn on the stand. And I really like our, she's not, I think she might be the clerk of the court. I really like her. Her voice reminds me of home. And by home, I mean New England. Okay, let's see what the chat says before we get into this. I'm horrified by Miss Pro Bo. No. Pretty good. That was pretty good, Redondo. Yeah, tickets are on sale at 10 a.m. Friday morning. So make sure you get your tickets for the event with Jimmy and Aiden. It's going to be amazing. I mean, how could it not be, right? Ellie Nono says, oh, this is in response to, but I just peeked. I just saw Henry Rollins and I clicked on it. I worked backstage for Henry Rollins one time and he was an asshole, which I get is his shtick, but don't treat staff working for you like that. What did Lady Harlot say? Oh, the FBI witness looks like an angrier Henry Rollins. Yeah, I can see that. He looks quite friendly. Nothing evil looking about him at all. Oh, okay. Jules says, I think it's going to be a hung jury. It's going to get 12 people to be able to overcome their emotions. It just seems so tough to do. I agree. If the commentators and the LawTube channels and the rest of us content creators and our audiences can't agree, I don't think 12 juror members are going to be able to agree. Amanda says, do you think this will inevitably be a hung jury? There's bound to be at least one person who can't get past the fact that she did it equals she's evil and should pay no matter what. Yeah, I think it's going to be split. I think it's going to be more than one person. I'm shocked at the Commonwealth experts using their disputed facts in the reasoning for their ultimate opinions. I mean, they haven't known what their case is until I feel like today. So, okay. I love the court lady's pantsuits too. She's so pretty, and I love her like for the Commonwealth. For the Commonwealth. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I don't think they're going not guilty by reason of insanity. I don't know, part of me thinks that they will. I'm split between not guilty by reason of insanity and a hung jury. Those are the two options I think that we have on the table. So I don't know. Okay. So let's get into this. So basically yesterday, Heilbrunn got back on the stand and he was still under direct, right? And he explained that Lindsay's description of feeling like it wasn't her and watching herself, quote unquote, is a classic example of peri-traumatic disassociation, a natural psychological response during severe trauma/stress, not an indicator of psychotic detachment from reality. This is another guy who's sort of parsing out what the DSM says. If you'll remember, this is the guy who, alongside Dr. Hack, was hired out from Park Dietz to the prosecution. He spent a bit of time with Lindsay. I think they did like a 10-hour interview. He didn't interview a ton of collateral witnesses or collateral people. You think, Emily says, I think they're going not guilty by reason of insanity. That's what I think too. I think that the only other option is a hung jury. And I think that they are probably leaning toward not guilty by reason of insanity. And if they follow the law, as Jess says, they absolutely should go not guilty by reason of insanity. They couldn't get one lady for their experts, lady doctor, fly like Jeff says. No kidding. These guys are so white old man mansplaining that it's just like, oh God, what are you guys even talking about? I can tell. It's interesting to me because even the doctors don't fully understand what a woman is going through. Even these male doctors don't get it. The way that they're talking about her and the way that they're like, you're going to hear it from the testimony of the Sam the Eagle dude, where he's like, I thought it was strange that she had looked up earlier the 3V restaurant but didn't tell him that she wanted him to do an extra errand until just before he left the house. And I'm like, do you know what it's like to have 3 children under the age of 6 in your home and trying to mom and trying to schedule for everybody and trying to make sure you can get in a Google search about the medicine your daughter needs, especially when you are suffering postpartum depression, anxiety, possibly psychosis, and you're frantic and wanting to be the best mom possible. These people did, like, these guys don't understand Lindsay Clancy, and they don't understand her struggles. And that's why I can't buy what they're saying in their testimony, because I don't think that they understand. I think they're guessing. They're guessing based on the DSM. They're guessing based on whatever they were indoctrinated into in when they were studying this, you know? I think this is right, Lady Harlot. Don't quote me on this. I'd have to vet it a little bit more, but I think you're right because I remember hearing something about it. Lady Harlot said, didn't Reddington try to call survivors of postpartum depression to the stand, but it was denied? I think so. MB Sensel says, what verdict gets her into mental health facility? Isn't that what I've been told is the reason for this, prison or mental health facility? Because I'm team mental health facility. So as I understand it, not guilty by reason of insanity, she would have to go to a mental health facility, and they would basically, I think, I don't know if it's every 6 months or every 6 days in Massachusetts, they would reevaluate her and then they would start basically giving her a little bit more leeway. So let's say it's 6 months. This is hypothetical. Let's say it's 6 months. They reevaluate her in 6 months, and then in 6 months they say, we're feeling like she might be okay to spend a day with her parents outside of the facility. So they try that. They see how she does. 6 months later, they report back to the court. She's doing much better. She can go hang out with her parents. She's safe, so we want to start giving her weekends at home. That's how that would work. I think she's going to be in a mental health facility for a very long time. I don't know if that's years. I don't know how long that's going to be, but because she's on 1-to-1 right now, meaning she's on suicide watch, she always has to have one person with her to make sure she doesn't unalive herself. To this day, she's going to be in for a while. And that's where she would go by not guilty, by reason of insanity, as far as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. The Commonwealth going with she can't have postpartum psychosis because it doesn't exist is certainly an interesting take. That's their take. That's what their experts are saying. Their experts are saying it doesn't exist in the DSM as a diagnosis, which means she can't have it. And I think that the jury, they had to have lost the majority of the jury with that. But that's just my take. Yeah, we're going to get to this, but this is what I'm talking about. These people don't understand Lindsay and Patrick's life at all, and you can tell. Venus Blue Cupcake said, when the FBI dad said, adding one more responsibility for Patrick, like, seriously? Yeah, like, poor Patrick. Like, here's the wife calling to add one more thing. One of the other things that we're going to have to talk about a little bit later in this stream is the fact that they keep talking about that she did this all in 18 minutes. And by all, I mean unaliving her own children. She did it in 18 minutes. Now, if she were planning, if this were premeditated, do you think that she would understand that she could get this done in 18 minutes? I mean, are we being serious here? Like, get this done and unalive herself before Patrick comes home. Like, it doesn't even make sense, you guys. It just doesn't make sense. Ugh. Okay. Jules said Spinelli was a female psychiatrist who met with her early on, but Red decided not to call her in the end. Not sure why. From what I've heard, these are the rumors, she posted something that was biased for Lindsay, as I understand it. So she was posting about it on social media. So she isn't sequestered. And so that's the reason I understand that she wasn't being called. Redondo said the only witness that's been good at all has been the defense witness, the guy who testified via Zoom. That would be Resnick. And I think La Posada was good also. She's always good. Okay. All right, let's get into this. Okay. So Dr. Heilbrunn also said that she had guarded demeanor on day 3. And this is during the testing that they did. So he was with her for 3 days. I think it was 10 hours over the course of 3 days. He noted that while Lindsay was alert and articulate on days 1 and 2 of testing, she became noticeably guarded on day 3 when questioned about the homicides, frequently replying, "I don't remember," or claiming she did not recall writing the word horrified when waking up in the ICU. I don't find that that's her being guarded as much as, here's the thing that the other thing that these expert witnesses are not seeming to get into their big brains. Lindsay was, if she was if she had postpartum psychosis, she had a psychotic break. They make a big deal about the fact that she only heard the voice on that day, which is not true based on other testimony. But let's say it is true. Let's say hypothetically it is true. She only heard that voice for those 18 minutes that they're saying it took her to unalive her children. She jumped out of a window. She was then paralyzed. She woke up in a hospital, excuse me, in a medically induced coma. She coded while she was at the hospital. And by the time she woke up and was coherent, she was intubated, couldn't speak. And she had been on a cocktail of drugs to keep her comfortable and safe. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. Ooh, sorry about that. That took me over. Okay. So she's in the hospital. She's on drugs. She comes out. She's intubated. And they find it strange that from that moment on, she never heard her voice. But as she's on the right meds finally, and she is under supervision in a hospital and is not allowed to unalive herself and is no longer hearing voices, that all makes sense to me. They're acting like that's an anomaly. That's weird. That's weird. That's suspicious. Like, I don't know. If I'm on the jury and I hear them saying that, I'm like, that makes total sense to me that she wouldn't hear the voices anymore, because she was finally being treated for the thing that she'd been complaining about for 4 months. Ugh. So the fact that he's saying that she was noticeably guarded on day 3 because she said that she couldn't remember things. The woman has been on a whole new list of medications and has been treated for the past 3 years. Who knows what's real and what's not real? Who knows what she remembers? And if she doesn't remember, saying, "I don't remember," is not her being guarded. Like, give me more evidence of that. Don't just use words like guarded when you don't know if it's real or not. He also testified, this is really strange. This is another strange thing. He testified that carrying out the unaliving of the children required complex, sequential cognitive choices. I don't want to get into too much detail here because it's about the kids. But he's saying she had to make a bunch of choices. The selecting the basement location, deciding which child, speaking calmly, choosing the weapon, all that stuff. And they're saying that she had to have cognitive abilities in order to do that. Of course she had cognitive abilities, but she also said that for 18 minutes straight, a male voice was demanding that she do this, and that's the only way to fix all the problems, was that she do this. And so she was going through the motions of it. She was doing the thing that came to her first. This whole sequential cognitive choice thing comes up in the later testimony too, and I just think it's bullshit, in my opinion. And then he, by reading his own report, I'm going to play this moment for you, actually. Hold on. 152. This is him giving his final verdict, if you will, I guess.
From a mental disease or defect at the time she killed her children. Reasonable degree of psychological certainty as to whether or not the defendant was suffering from a mental disease or defect at the time she killed her children.
I did, yes.
And what is that opinion?
That opinion is yes, she was. She was experiencing bipolar 2 disorder, depressive symptom.
So to me, this is important for the defense. I mean, he's saying, yes, she was suffering from a mental disease at the time that this happened. So this one is good for the defense. The next one is he'll read it from his report because I don't think he fully believes it himself. But
and there were other things that were exacerbating that, making it worse. One is the sleep problems and the probably the continued adverse reactions to medication and so on. But yes, in my opinion, she did have a mental disease or defect on January 24th.
And Doctor, to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty, did you form an opinion as to whether or not the defendant appreciated the criminality or wrongfulness of her conduct when she killed her children?
I did, yes. And I'm at the end of my report, I was very careful about how I phrased this. And so,
Sustained. If you could just answer the question regarding your opinion.
So yes, you formed an opinion?
I did, yes.
And what is that opinion?
That opinion is that she retained an awareness of the illegality of killing others, including killing her children. Her moral awareness of the wrongfulness of this killing was influenced by her strong desire to die, and if she were dead, not to leave her children behind. Some of this perception was realistic. For example, my children will suffer without me because they would have suffered, I think. And some of it was distorted. For example, nobody else can care for my children. But her awareness of the illegality and moral wrongfulness of such killing is best appraised by understanding these acts as a serious suicide attempt combined with altruistic filicide, killing her children out of love, rather than as a response to command hallucinations.
And did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of psychological certainty as to whether Ms. Clancy was able to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law when she killed her children?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
That her capacity to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law is again best understood by considering the seriousness of her suicide attempt and her strong desire not to leave her children. She demonstrated such self-control throughout the day on January 24th, and her actions between 5:15 and 6 p.m. that afternoon were influenced by her depression and her hopelessness about her life and the desire to end the pain she had experienced since October.
So just to be clear, the prosecution's expert witnesses, Dr. Mack and this dude, because postpartum is not a diagnosis in the DSM, they have decided to label her as having a major depressive episode. Now, postpartum psychosis can be a qualifier of that, can be I think it's called a signifier. I can't remember. And so they're going to continue to say that she was suffering a major depressive episode. Regardless, that still means that she was having a major break that day. And that's still, even whether it's a major depressive episode, bipolar 2, or psychosis, I think it still falls under by reason of insanity. And I hope that the jury sees that. I don't understand. I still don't understand what the prosecution is trying to sell here, because it's not working for me. Thanks for becoming a new member, Jules. So sweet of you. Redondo Beach, I want to tell you that I see your comment. I don't want to put it on the screen just because it's a little graphic. I'm terribly sorry that happened to you, and I am very glad you're here with us. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to acknowledge that. Mal says, 1, PPP does not exist. 2, she didn't want to be a mom anymore. 3, she had psychosis, just not related to postpartum. 4, she had psychosis but didn't hear voices. 5, the unalive attempt was fake, but SRS. Amanda says trauma does create memory loss too. Yes, it does. I can attest. As someone who has been diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, I can attest. Let's see. Miss K said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe from the time she said she wanted to harm her kids and in December present risk of harm, and they failed to provide order and immediate through thorough risk assessment to evaluate the risk of harm. I don't quite understand your comment. Sorry. Yeah, great point, MB. Science, at Science and Sass, there's also been plenty of crap in the DSM that isn't a thing. See, homosexuality, thank you. It's not the be-all and end-all they want to make it. They're saying it's their authority here in the United States, so it's what they have to go by, but that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Lady Harlot, I'm glad you're still here to eat Captain Crunch, Redondo. Me too. Let's see. Emily says, I feel like they don't realize the voice was inside her head. It's not like, oh, you talked to that man and then never saw him again. Yeah, and then the other thing is like they've made a point to differentiate that the voice was inside her head, but that she heard it outside of her head. I don't know what that distinction does for them, but they keep making that distinction. This is the actual prosecution case, Mal said. 1, children died, eye for an eye. 2, children died, eye for an eye. 3, children died, eye for an eye. Yes, that is what these women are going with. This is exactly how I feel about it too, Jess. I don't see Elsie as overly controlling at all. I see someone barely hanging on who didn't want anyone to mess up whatever system she had in place with her kids. Whatever system she had in place with her kids, as well as whatever system she had in place to keep herself moving throughout her days. And when she realized that that system was getting messed up because of her own brain, she wanted to stop it. She had to stop it. So... Jenny said, don't tell me Frack isn't telling her nanny how to cut the veggies. Exactly. Okay. Micmac, thanks so much for the 10 jewels. I really appreciate that. Very sweet. And then Micmac, thanks for the other 200 jewels in the sunshine. Thank you. No, this is my point, D-Cools. Serious question. At the end of the day, does it matter if she was having a bipolar psychotic break or a PPP break? Because the thing that they aren't telling us, and we looked at this yesterday. So let me pull this back up. This is according to the DSM. Let's just go over this really quickly again for those who were not here yesterday with us. In the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the 5th edition, which is the one that we're on, even though the 6th is probably coming out soon, postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis do not exist as standalone, distinct diagnoses in the DSM-5. Instead, the DSM-5 classifies these conditions as primary mood disorders modified by a specific diagnosis add-on known as a specifier. That's what I was trying to say earlier. So, and they also don't call it postpartum in the DSM. They call it peripartum because they realized that some women were starting to experience the symptoms of what had been postpartum. Well, I can't even say it because the DSM says it doesn't exist. They started experiencing some of the symptoms while pregnant. So they call it peripartum onset, which is why Dr. Mack yesterday, we watched his testimony. He refused to say even the words postpartum. He would say in the period after birth. He will not say postpartum. So it's these guys don't believe it exists because of the DSM tells them so. So here's the thing. The places where postpartum psychosis does exist is as a specifier to major depressive disorder, which most of these doctors have said she has, and that she had a major depressive episode. So if psychosis is a specifier of major depressive disorder, then she had psychosis. And you can also have, you can have psychosis as a specifier to bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and you can also have a brief psychotic disorder. So why are we debating? Why are we parsing out postpartum psychosis? The defense has done a really great job of repeating that throughout this trial so that the jury gets it in their head. This was a postpartum psychosis situation. All of these doctors are doing their fucking damnedest to stay away from the words postpartum. For what reason, you guys? For what reason? What was the reason? Cardi B is up in my head today. And the way that it's coded in the DSM-5, sorry, my watch is just, my texts are going mad this morning. Under bipolar or major depression, if a woman experiences psychotic features, delusions, ready? Delusions, yes. Auditory command hallucinations, check. Thought broadcasting, check. during a peripartum mood episode, clinicians must code, and this is where they're getting it. This is how they must code it. And by code it, I mean for the fucking insurance companies, not for an actual expert witness on a stand in an unaliving trial. They have to code it as bipolar 1 disorder with psychotic features for peripartum onset, or major depressive disorder, severe, with psychotic features with peripartum onset. And then under psychotic disorders, they have to code it brief psychotic disorder with marked stressor with peripartum onset. Now, if you ask me, this last one, that's what was happening with Lindsay Clancy. If you want to get real technical in the DSM, that's what was happening. Why are we even parsing this out? She fits so much of the criteria, it's unbelievable. Let's look at a summary of clinical criteria, okay? To meet the criteria for major depression with peripartum onset, a mother must meet standard MDD criteria, at least 5 of 9 symptoms for at least 2 weeks, including depressed mood or anhedonia. I can never say it. Anhedonia. Thank you. Anhedonia. Ready? Let's check these off, shall we? Depressed mood / crying spells. Check. Anhedonia, the ability to feel pleasure or bond. Check. Insomnia. She couldn't sleep for 48 hours. Check. Or hyperinsomniator. Hyperinsomnia. Significant unintentional weight / appetite loss. Check. Psychomotor agitation or slowing. Check. Severe fatigue, heaviness. Check. Feelings of excessive guilt or worthlessness. Check. Diminished concentration, brain fog. Check. Recurrent thoughts of death or suicidal ideation. Double fucking check. She checks off not 5 of 9 symptoms. She checks off all 9 symptoms. And we've heard witnesses from both sides, the prosecution and the defense, tell us about every single one of those symptoms that Lindsay Clancy was experiencing. So you tell me. I wonder if the jury's going to have the DSM back there with them. I would assume they are, but I don't know. I just don't know. And then, so the other thing that these experts are hanging their hat on is that the DSM frames the period after birth, where a woman might experience these things, as only 4 weeks. It can only postpartum can only last 4 weeks, you guys. Just so everybody's clear, postpartum, it's a rule, right? It's a rule that postpartum can only last for 4 weeks. We all know that, right? All the women in the chat, all the men in the chat who have been around women who have suffered postpartum anything. Yeah, we all know that's only 4 weeks, right? And then they get over it. They go for a run. They take a deep breath. They take a yoga class. They have lunch with the ladies and they talk about their issues. And then it's over, right? These fuckers. Fuck them. Sorry. Okay. I'm just getting too hot too early. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning, Mel. Take a deep breath. Okay. So that was his ultimate opinion. He opined that the unalivings were part of a very lethal, as he put it, suicide attempt combined with altruistic filicide, driven by severe depressive hopelessness rather than an uncontrollable response to a command hallucination. Wrong. You're wrong. Ugh. And then poor Kevin Reddington. I actually feel sorry for this guy now. You know, he's so frustrated. These people, these witnesses cannot, for the life of them, not mansplain their answers. And even, I mean, Kevin Reddington is all women right now, dealing with these men mansplaining to him. He literally gets to one point in the cross, you're going to see it, where he asks the question and the doctor like takes a deep breath and he goes, just a yes or no, please, God, just a yes or no, please. And the guy can't do it. He just can't do it. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh God, you guys, the chat. I can't. The chat. I can't. I'm gonna have to like go back because there's so much you guys were talking about, and I appreciate that. Keep talking. Keep talking to each other. Okay, and don't forget to like the video. Smash the like button, and don't forget that we love you and we appreciate super chats, and we work hard for our tips. Don't forget to tip your server, please. You can tip via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. It's all at the top of the screen. It's pinned in the chat. Help a sister out. Okay. Let's get into the cross, shall we? Here we go. Is Reddington.
Well, one of the things you just said to this jury that apparently stood out in your mind, and that would be the dichotomy of the difference between
I'm going to let this run for a second.
statements
I
that
have
Lindsay
to use the
made.
bathroom.
One
Be right
being,
back.
I believe, in the hospital, and you felt that there was a subsequent statement
Emily,
that
you're in
was made by
charge.
her that contradicted that, or was different from that, and that would be after 3 days of you and Mac testing her. Is that right? Can you just say, is it right or wrong?
Mr. Reddington, it's not quite right.
Okay, why don't we do it this way? You just told the jury that Lindsay made a statement to you at the conclusion of the 3 days that you and Mac were questioning her and testing her and interviewing her. Is that fair? Yes or no?
What I would say is,
Yes or no?
no.
Did you tell this jury, in addition, that Lindsay made a different statement when she was in the hospital? Yes or no?
What I said to the jury
I'm
is,
asking you, sir, did you make that statement to this jury?
what I intended to
No,
say.
not what you intended. Can you answer my question? Yes or no?
No.
Now, is Dr. Helbron aware of the concept of post-intensive care syndrome?
Post-intensive care syndrome.
Yeah, PICS. It's called PICS.
No, I have not heard of post-intensive care
Is
syndrome.
Dr. Helbron aware of when a person is coming out of major surgery and has been subject to anesthesia, that it is known that they have delusions, hallucinations, make statements that don't make sense? Are you aware of that, sir?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And is that from your personal experience, professional experience? Because you didn't know what PICS was when they asked you, right?
Yes, it's not from my personal experience or my professional experience.
You received a notification to evaluate Lindsay Clancy on this criminal case from the district attorney's office, right?
Yes.
And do you recall when you received that notification?
It would have been sometime before January of 2025, because that's when I started reviewing the documents that they provided.
Okay, so January of 25, January of 26, and then in the spring of 26, you go to the Tewksbury Hospital with Mac and you interview Lindsay, right?
Correct.
So how many months is it from the time that you were appointed or requested or asked to help the DA's office to the time you saw Lindsay? How much time passed?
Probably about 18 months.
About a year and a half. And how much time passed from that point going backwards to January of 23?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Okay, January of 23, you add a year, that's January of 24, right?
Yeah.
That's 1 year.
Yeah.
January of 24, you add a year up to January 25, that's 2 years, right?
Yes.
January of 25 up to when you and Mac finally go out to Tewksbury to interview this young lady is how many months?
Well, it would be about 3 years.
Okay. And are you telling this jury that it's good, using the term loosely, medical practice to interview a young lady like this 3 years after the event for purposes of helping the DA, in your opinion?
Do you mean in the context of a forensic mental health assessment, sir?
That's the only reason you're here, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So can you answer my question?
The answer to your question is the sooner that I'm able to evaluate somebody after their involvement in the alleged offense, the more closely I can come to using that current state information as something that is relevant to their mental state at the time of the offense.
Okay. So in other words, yes, it is better to see them sooner rather than later, to coin a phrase, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And have in mind January of 25 that you were retained. But and again, you know, normally this isn't an issue. Who cares? But how much money did you make on this case? If they want to ask my doctor, how much money did you make on this case?
That depends when I'm finished. But I mentioned earlier that I had spent 180 hours before coming to
How
Plymouth.
much money did you make on the case, Dr. Simple?
Well, it's not that simple, but I'm being paid at $300 an hour.
Okay, so how much money did you make on the case?
Well, $300 an hour times 180.
What's your last billing?
I've been billing monthly, sir.
Okay, you must know what the total billing is up to this point, don't you?
I actually have not added it up.
How about you just give us your best estimate, doctor?
Well, let's see. Probably up to this point, it's been about $54,000.
$54,000. And it will be more, right? When we get finished with you today, right? It'll be more.
Yes.
Okay. So you received from me by certified mail, video interview of Lindsay by my guy, Dr. Resnick, right?
Correct.
You received the notes from Dr. Margaret Spinelli, right?
Yes.
You received the notes from my Dr. Paul Zeisel, right?
Yes.
You received the report that was prepared and submitted by Dr. Philip Resnick, right?
Yes.
You received the report prepared and submitted by Dr. Margaret Spinelli, right?
Yes.
And you received the report prepared by Dr. Zeisel, right?
Yes.
And then I said, if you have any questions, give me a call, drop me a line, whatever, but we never talked until today, right?
That's correct.
All right. Now, you have a curriculum vitae, that talks about that you are a clinical psychologist, correct? As you told us yesterday, right?
Yes.
I'm back.
Have you ever treated a woman in postpartum psychosis?
When I was a
He came in hot today.
staff psychologist at the forensic service at Florida State Hospital,
When was that, please?
that was back in 1982.
82?
Yes. I had a therapy group, which was comprised of women who had killed their children. They were severely mentally ill. And at that time, it was important to recognize the severity of their mental illness. And so I worked with them in a group at that time.
And this is 44 years ago?
Yes.
All right. And where was it?
It was at the Florida State Hospital in Chattahoochee, forensic unit.
How
Forensic
many,
service.
Chattahoochee.
how many of these people did you have a chance to interview in group or whatever you did?
There were 4 or 5 in the group.
4 or 5. Okay. Well, you are also a forensic psychology expert working for Park Dietz and Associates, right?
I have an affiliation with Park Dietz and Associates, yes.
Yes. That's basically, that's the letterhead that you have on all your stuff, right? Park Dietz and Associates, Inc. Is that right?
Yes.
You know Mac, do you?
Do I know
Yeah.
Dr. Mack?
Yeah, Dr. Mac, yeah, the guy that was here testifying for the last 2 days, Friday and Monday. You know
Yes,
him?
I do know him,
All
yes.
right. And he works with Park Dietz as well, right?
I think he has the same kind of affiliation I do, which is we both have jobs and do things elsewhere, but we occasionally do cases in affiliation with Park Dietz and Associates.
Right. And continuing on, and if you have it, you can certainly take a look at it.
This guy has a lot of quirks that drive me nuts too, despite the look on my face. He laughs a lot, and Reddington does call him out on that, which I appreciate, because this is much like, oh, we didn't even talk about the green dress girl. We need to talk about that. Yeah, I hate it too. It's weird.
Make sure I don't misrepresent anything on your V-Day, as you refer to it. You also were involved with Giant Food Corporation. You do fitness for duty assessments. What is that?
What are fitness for duty assessments?
Yeah, Giant Food Corp. What's Giant Food Corporation?
Oh, that's something that I did many years ago. Basically, a company or an organization might refer someone who is having difficulty at work, having symptoms, making threats, that sort of.
By the end of it, though, Cindy Boxer says, this is about the time yesterday I texted my husband that Red slept well and came correct to court. I agree, but he is so frustrated by the end of this testimony. Oof. I can't even imagine how he's going to deal with today, I'll be honest with you. Does the postpartum period start when the umbilical cord is cut or when the start of labor? Great question. I have no idea. Anybody knows? Let me know.
That sort of thing, and they would ask for an evaluation from a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and I did that for a while for Giant Food Corporations.
And you also did it for U.S. Airways, apparently, evaluations and consultation, right?
Yes.
So
You
obviously,
also did it for the Texas.
what Red is getting to here, we don't have to go through all of it because it goes on for a while, is that this guy doesn't have any experience with women who are suffering through postpartum anything. Again, he dealt with a lot of patients who were adolescents, so it's very strange to me they got these guys. I thought it was really important that he didn't evaluate Lindsay until 3 years later. He has a 70-page CV, and that 70-page CV shows that he was centered on juvenile offenders, prison risk assessments, and forensic ethics. So he wrote a book about how to deal with a difficult cross-examination like he's going through right now. He doesn't handle it very well. I can't imagine what's in his book. And he admitted on the stand that he had never authored an article or book on postpartum psychosis. His only 1977 paper was on adult schizophrenia research, which is what Reddington gets into. I guess he was like an assistant for his dad, this guy, Heilbrunn, and in 1977, he wrote a paper while he was an assistant for his dad. It's very strange. So let's get into more of the meat here. So he basically, Red does a great job establishing this guy, again, is not an expert in women or postpartum anything or women's hormones or depression or anything like that. He mostly deals with kids, just like the other guy. So what the fuck are we doing, guys? 235.
Okay, all right, that's good.
A little confused here between.
Well, listen, no,
Okay, hold on. There were a few moments like this. Reddington was really like, can you just say yes or no? The problem with these witnesses, which is why I'm like, aren't you guys supposed to be professional expert witnesses? Don't you know how this works? When you're asked a yes or no question, you're not allowed to opine. You're not allowed to go off on a mansplaining tangent. Listen to the question and answer the question. When somebody says, you saw this happen while I was off screen for a moment, when Reddington was like, here's the question, it's yes or no, and he goes, well, and he goes, no, it's a yes or no, and he's like, if I could, and he's like, nope, yes or no, and he goes, what I intended to say, what I intended to say? He was asking about his testimony that's already on record. The idea that this guy's supposed to be some professional expert witness and doesn't understand that he's not allowed to say, I intended to say this, even though I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I intended to, but I didn't say it. It just blows my mind. Like, I understand a yes or no question. I'm sure you guys do too. It definitely feels like these experts have an agenda. It's so weird, Lady Harlot says. I agree. It does feel that way. Okay.
Being concerned about her children, leaving them out of the house, right?
No, I don't believe I said that.
Okay.
One
Okay, let's go back a little bit. This was a good question.
question I asked him.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman being concerned about her babies when she's not at home, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
I wasn't presenting it as something that is wrong.
I'll back off. I'm sorry. I thought you did. I thought yesterday you were telling this jury that because Lindsay didn't like to leave her kids at home, that was a factor that Dr. Helbrin considered in his opinion.
I love that
That's
he calls
fine.
him
You
Dr.
agree that
Helbrin.
there's nothing wrong with a
Like,
woman being concerned about her
refers to him in
children,
that
leaving them
person.
out of the house, right?
No, I don't believe I said that.
Okay.
One of the things that
No, never mind one of the things. They can ask you one.
We can finish.
all right, okay. The answer was you did not say that.
Judge, I'm getting a little confused here
Well,
between.
listen, no, let's see if my question is not that confusing.
Okay.
Did you testify, you're done saying that you did not say what Mr. Reddington said?
Yes, I'm done
Okay,
saying that.
all right, that's good. Next question.
One of the other issues is that also factored into when Tufts prescribed her the SSRI, she didn't want to take it because she was afraid of the rest of it being contaminated by this.
Look how he sits. I don't know.
Right.
It's just, it's very
Yes.
mansplaining. Like
And then
his
ultimately,
body.
when she stopped breastfeeding, at that point, she was able to take the SSRI, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then Tufts increased it to 50, right?
I don't recall offhand what
Okay,
the.
well, you agree that Tufts increased the SSRI, right?
I do.
You agree that before the end of September of 2022, this young woman was living her life with her husband and her kids. Summer of 22, happy, had a great time. Do you agree with that, sir?
I do.
And when she saw Tufts from September end up until the killing of these children and the state of her condition that you told the jury was confusing. Remember using that word yesterday? It was confusing with these number of diagnoses that she dealt with?
Yes, I did use that word.
And the confusing with the number of drugs that was one drug on top of another drug and stop this drug, start that drug. That was confusing, wasn't it, sir?
Yes, it was.
And it was confusing and upsetting to her and her husband to the point where they went to these doctors and said to them, you're turning her into a zombie, right?
Yes, that's right.
But prior to seeing Tufts and the other healthcare providers, she was a happy woman, wasn't she?
She was in many respects happy, pleased with her life. So she wasn't happy in an unqualified way, but she was, yes, she was very happy with certain aspects of her life.
So as September turns into October, middle of October, thereabouts, how is she doing at that point between her depression, anxiety, drugs prescribed? How is she doing?
She was anxious about going back to work, but she hadn't started taking the drugs that were prescribed.
Okay, let him finish. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doug.
Yes. In September, she was
Yes.
anxious about returning to work. She had not yet started taking the medications that Dr. Tufts had prescribed, though.
How about a text that she had sent to her mother on October 20th, sir? I know you indicated in your report.
Here
that
comes
she
the
reviewed
whiteboard.
All of the computer searches, text messages, Apple Watches, all that stuff, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Read that text, please. October 20th. This is a text that she sent to her mother. Read it.
Would you like me to read it out
I'd
loud?
like you to read it out loud.
Jesus Christ.
Mom, will you please come up and stay with me for a bit? I'm really sick. Something is wrong. I had horrible insomnia all night, and I just don't know how I'm going to get through the day. I started taking the medicine my doctor prescribed for anxiety, and I think it's made things worse. It's just really scary, and I don't want to be alone.
Did her mother come up the next day and stay with
This
her?
next part is really important.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the records.
I'm sure.
How do you not know
You know,
that?
sir, that she
How do you
actually
not know
climbed
that?
into the bed with her mother to sleep with her mother when the mother was staying with her during this period of time?
No, I didn't know that.
How do you not know that?
In the middle of November, sir,
We
she
all
texted
know
her mother-in-law, which would be Pat's mother, Sue. This would be Sue Clancy, who was also a labor and delivery nurse, right?
Yes, that's correct.
She texted Sue while she was at work as a nurse, right?
Yes.
And Sue was in the emergency room and actually realized that Lindsay was at the hospital and stated that she felt unwell. Is that right?
Yes.
Did Sue see her in the hospital, if you know?
I think she met with her in the emergency room.
Okay. And then her mother-in-law was trying to help her out and referred her
Crazy
to
today.
another person that was a friend of a friend, so to speak, right? To help her out?
The nurse practitioner, is that who you're talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
And she was able to meet with that individual, Paul, until she left, I think like a week later. She
Julie
went on
Paul.
to another job, right?
I think that's right, yes.
And that's when she saw Nurse Gelada. Was that correct?
To my memory, that's correct, yes.
And then would you agree with me, sir, that at this time frame in November, she was having real difficulty with sleep disruption, yes?
Yes, I would.
We had concerns all along about this starting in mid-October about the impact of the medications on her insomnia, correct?
Yes, insomnia was one of the first problems that she experienced when she started taking the medication in October.
And she expressed the fact that she believed that the medications were obviously having an adverse effect on her. They were damaging her brain, right?
She did express that view, yes.
And then she still, however, had a positive outlook
Here
and
we
was
go.
hoping that things would turn around in her life and that she could get back to being herself, is a
This
quote.
is the woman
right?
and children's
Yes, that's right.
part.
But instead, and I quote your words yesterday, it got worse.
Yep.
Yes.
Late in November, she's still having a lot of trouble sleeping. She thought that she was close to, and I quote, the end of her rope. Bad analogy, but nevertheless, that's what she said, right?
Yes, it is.
She was feeling off, disconnected, sort of like a zombie. Your words, testifying here yesterday, sir, correct?
Correct.
She was reporting at this point panic symptoms, concerns about the benzodiazepines, correct?
Yes,
Indicated that she was disoriented and forgetful, correct?
correct.
You told us that she stated that she was disconnected from her body. Isn't that correct?
That's how she described feeling, yes.
Could not relate to people, felt that she was in a disassociative state. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is right.
Thought that the medication was resulting in this type of development in her life, correct? She felt the medications were contributing to this.
Here we go.
Yes, that's correct.
And in December, and I quote you, it's not getting better. It got from worse, it got better. Oh, actually, not better. It got worse again, didn't it, in December?
December was probably the worst month for her, as she described it.
And in December, sir, you recall that she indicated, and I quote from your testimony, horrible intrusive thoughts. She had thoughts about harming herself, potentially as she continued to experience these thoughts later into December, correct?
Yes, that's right.
These thoughts, did anyone say to her, are these thoughts? Are these coming from outside your head? Are they coming from inside your head?
Good
Are they
point.
male voices? Are they female voices? Anybody ask anything about thoughts, what they were? According to the medical records, not according to your guess.
That's a standard kind of question when you're
My
being-
question, sir, is you
That
read
is
the medical
not
records.
the question.
No, overruled.
Can you answer that question based
Not
on
the question.
Dr. Hellbrun's review of the medical records of what
Not
this
the
young lady
question.
went through in that hell that she was living?
Is your question, did someone ask her about
Yes.
hallucinations?
Yeah, if I come
thoughts?
Yeah.
to you for help,
Yeah.
and I say, I've got intrusive thoughts about killing myself, and God forbid, I'm thinking about killing my kids. I've got these thoughts in my head. Did you ask me? Thoughts? What happened? Does anybody ask that question?
Yes, that's a standard question that psychiatrists ask at the beginning of each appointment. It's a standard mental status
Okay.
question.
Did any one of those psychiatrists ask Lindsay Clancy that question, according to the medical records? Anyone?
Ms. Clancy completed the answer to those
That
questions
is not.
What
on a
question?
number
That
of
is
occasions,
not-
if I
What
might.
question?
No,
Question.
go ahead.
What
No,
questions?
That's
Finish
not
that
the
question. I'll let you
question.
have that question.
Okay.
Finish the answer.
Questions such as, are you hearing voices? If so, describe those and so on. And the typical response that she gave as part of a question like that was no.
How about when someone says, I've got dark thoughts? Does anybody, professionals, ask, what are the dark thoughts?
If somebody said, I'm having dark thoughts, then the follow-up question would be, tell me more. What are the thoughts? Tell me, just give me some descriptions of what you're having, what you're thinking, what it's like, and so on.
So if a patient goes to a doctor and says, I'm having these intrusive thoughts, I'm having dark thoughts, I'm having thoughts of, and at the same time frame in December,
Mhm.
she's talking about harming the children, correct?
Yep.
She said that those thoughts had come to her at times.
At times.
And she told
mentioned
people
that
about them.
to her husband, didn't she?
And her mother.
That's what she said, yes.
She mentioned, did you talk to her husband about it?
Yes, I did talk to her
Tell you
husband.
that she said that to him?
Yes.
Interesting, right? Interesting way
A
that
couple
he answered that
times.
question. Reddington, he's overwhelming, but he says, she was having thoughts about harming the children. And she told her husband about it. And he says, his answer is, that's what Lindsay says. And that's why Reddington was like, but you talked to Patrick and he told you too. So why would you answer that's what Lindsay says? That's a fact. It's not, well, Lindsay said it. So, but we don't really know. We do know because Patrick backed it up. Like it's so shady.
She said it to him, right?
A couple of times she said, I'm having thoughts, and he asked her, give me more detail if you could, and she said, they're just thoughts, it's not a plan, that sort of thing.
You got this girl living in her house with her kids, saying she's having dark thoughts, saying she's thinking of harming the children. And Patrick's response, according to your testimony, is just basically just power through it, you'll be okay?
Go for a
No,
run.
bro.
Go for a run.
Huh?
No,
Go
that
to
was
the
not his
gym.
response as he described it. He asked more questions because one of the
Go to
things
a
that she
cafe
had been
with your
dealing with
girlfriends.
for some time are thoughts about hurting herself and possibly the kids. And so what he did was try to get more information about the details. He asked questions that a mental health professional would also ask, which is how often, what are they like? Do you have a plan? Things like that. And she pretty consistently said, no, I don't have a plan. And this is how often it happens, but they're just thoughts.
So
They're just
let's talk about that,
thoughts.
because that's apparently the standard reaction. If a patient
They're
comes
just
to a
thoughts.
doctor and says, I'm having dark thoughts, intrusive thoughts, I'm thinking of hurting myself, I'm thinking of hurting the kids, you say, do you have a plan? That's a question you ask, right?
That's one of the questions that you ask,
And the
yes.
person says, nah, I don't have a plan, I'm just having these thoughts, and you just basically move on, give them more directions. What do you do?
No, you don't move on. You're aware that the person has reported
Oh,
having those thoughts, and
great.
you've appraised the risk. And the risk has to do with things like how imminent is it? How serious is it? Are there means? How is there a plan? What sort of detail is involved, and so on. And so basically, what you do at that point is you take it seriously, but you also try to describe how seriously to take it.
Okay.
So
Would you agree, sir, that she was complaining through December about these unwelcome and internal thoughts? Is that correct?
Yes,
It's important for your evaluation because when you ask the question, when you're experiencing these thoughts, were they your own thoughts or were they auditory hallucinations? And she indicated to you, they're my own thoughts. That's what your testimony was, right, yesterday?
that's correct.
But she made clear that these were unwelcome and that they were intrusive. Is that correct?
Yes, she did.
So she's answering your questions honestly. She certainly isn't trying to fake that she's hearing all sorts of voices yelling at her and things like that. She's answering honestly, correct?
Yes,
Very cooperative, correct?
yes, correct.
You then would indicate, sir, that in your evaluation, as you went on, that she described an experience on December 15th. And she described December 15th as being literally one of the worst days in her life, right?
Yes.
And that's, why was it one of the worst days of her life?
Well, it was one of the worst days because things were getting more intense and difficult, and the thoughts that she was experiencing were harder to handle for her.
As a result of that, her husband, Pat, took her to the hospital, right?
Correct.
And
this is
you
so
indicated that
important.
it looked like she was having general anxiety symptoms, right? That's your testimony yesterday.
It looked from what the records reflected that anxiety was something that they were focusing on her experiencing.
And then you said in your testimony, but not so much the postpartum. What does that mean?
It means that in December, she would have been 7 months away from giving birth to Callan. And consequently, it was less likely to be postpartum than depression for other reasons or bipolar or major depression
yeah?
or something like that, rather than postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis, something like that.
Because you know that postpartum is not a medical diagnosis. That's just the fact that you had a baby, right?
I do know that, yes.
Okay. And
See, he doesn't
when
even
she went to
believe in
that hospital,
he's like, oh,
did they
God.
provide any
I gotta say
help for
this
her or
out
any
loud.
medication or what
Great.
happened on December 15th?
She did not stay in the hospital
This
very
is
long.
very,
and
very
so,
important testimony right here.
No, she
Reddington
didn't
gets it
remain
right
there
here.
long enough to get the kind of help that you would usually get on an inpatient basis.
But the next day or thereabouts, she goes back to see Tuss, right?
Yes.
Okay. So she immediately tries to reach out for help. Anybody that would listen to her, right?
She was trying hard to get help.
Now we get to December 20th. December 20th wasn't a very good day either, was it?
Yeah.
Well, that was the day she went to the she went to the Rhode Island hospital
Yeah.
that had a postpartum program.
Yeah.
Now, you know from looking at the medical
For sure.
records that, in fact, it was recommended to her, I think by maybe the LASCW young lady, Letitia Dukes, but maybe I'm wrong. You're in the records. Someone told her to get in touch with this Rhode Island hospital, right?
Yes.
They specialize in postpartum care for women that possibly are going through postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression, right?
Yes.
And Pat, her husband, took her and dropped her off, and then he went skiing with Cora. Is that correct?
Correct.
And he dropped her off in that hospital, and she was evaluated by a doctor and some people, correct?
Yes,
And you reviewed those medical records, right?
I did.
And when you reviewed the medical records, did you see that she was also involved in group discussions and crayons and coloring and things like that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did that help her out, do you think, coloring?
There's a number of things that they try to do. I think coloring as such would not be helpful, but
Okay.
there are There's art therapy and there's various other kinds of things that people are involved in.
All right, so various other things that people are involved in. So I assume the people you're referring to would be the employees of the hospital.
Or the patients who are attending the postpartum program.
Okay. So what exactly was the program? What did they do? That one day that she was there for 8 hours, what did they do?
She wasn't accepted as part of
I
that
didn't ask you
program.
about that. I asked you, what did they do?
Well, they evaluated her, is my understanding from reviewing the records.
And then what happened, sir, when they evaluated her?
They evaluated her and they indicated that she was not appropriate for their program.
And you testified yesterday that, and I quote, they said she did not necessarily fit into their postpartum program. They did offer her 3 other programs. Remember that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And then you indicated that patient was offered several options, including inpatient treatment for medication management, right?
Yes.
A partial hospitalization program focused on general mental health,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where was that program?
I don't know.
Or continued outpatient management, right?
Yes.
What is that, like going to see Tufts? Outpatient management?
Yes. That's living at home in the community and being treated by a psychiatrist, which is what Dr. Tufts was.
Right. Well, okay. So patient plans to follow up with her outpatient provider for guidance.
Yeah.
Is what you said
okay.
yesterday, right?
Yes.
And she did the next day, right?
Yes.
And do you think that it's that a doctor who has been licensed as a physician psychiatrist advertising that they specialize in postnatal issues is qualified to treat a young woman with this symptomology that she brought to that desk? Oh, I'm sorry, to the television set?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you know that she never met, Tufts never met this girl. She never met her, ever, until she sat in that witness stand.
I understand that their treatment was done remotely.
It was remotely. So when I say the television, that's what I mean.
television.
It's like you run Zoom, you run whatever. That's, I apologize for that.
Yes. Yeah.
So she went the next day and actually remotely accessed a meeting with Dr. Tufts, right?
Yes.
And then she went back onto her schedule with Dr. Tufts, but that didn't help so much. Is that correct? You indicated that she was still numb. She was still having suicidal ideation, things of that nature, right?
Correct.
Okay. One of the things that you said, though, sir, yesterday is that her admission to the hospital was because they did not feel, and I quote, that she did not necessarily fit into their program. You recall that?
You mean their failure to accept her into the day program?
The failure to help her, period. They told her to leave.
It's my understanding that what they said was that you don't fit with our program because
This is
it's
so
not
important.
a postpartum phenomenon, and that's what the program is about.
Did you really read those records?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And
So
I
tell me
wrote
again.
something about, in my report, I wrote something about it.
Wait for the next question, okay?
Yes, sure.
So you read the records from that Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island.
Yes.
On this jury, right?
Yes.
And what was the language, the word salad you just said to me that they didn't accept her because of what?
You rephrase that.
What was it you just said to this jury they wouldn't accept her? Why?
It was a day program for women experiencing postpartum difficulties. And their evaluation of Miss Clancy was that her difficulties were more related to general mental health, but not particularly to postpartum difficulties.
Well, it's
And so
a-
she did not,
Go ahead.
if I might,
Yeah, you might.
if she might be
Yeah, you
more
might.
appropriate for somebody, she might be more appropriate for a general mental health program, but not so much for a postpartum day program, which is what they had. So they didn't say that you don't need help. They just said that you don't fit with our program.
Would it surprise you to know, sir, that they said that she didn't fit with their program, as you put it, because of the overlay of over-medication that her doctors had caused to that point? Do you have any memory of that at all?
There were questions that they raised about the medication.
It wasn't just questions. They said that's the reason. The secondary diagnosis as to why they wouldn't accept this young lady is because of the medications that she had.
Get them red.
Over-medicated.
The
Do you recall seeing that in those records?
Yes, I recall the diagnosis of depression, which was not specified further because there were medicine complications.
Do I have to get the medical records and read them to you?
Wow.
I actually have something
Wow.
in my report, so I can read it back
Can
to
you
you.
pull it out and tell me
Yes.
what the discharge diagnosis
said-
was?
Pull it out. I love it when he points. I love it when the judge points. I love it when the judge is like, stop it. Sit down, frickin' frack. I would watch any case that Kevin Reddington was on, but I'd also watch any case this judge is on. I think he's very interesting. What you got here, doctor? Wait till this doctor reads what he wrote. By the way, Kathy, thanks for becoming a member. Come to Crossroads Monday nights, 5 o'clock-ish. Guys, while we're sitting here waiting for him to flip through, can you guys smash the like? Smash the like. Like this video.
I'm on page 18 of my report. And
Here we go.
The records indicate a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder
Mhm.
and depressive disorder
Mhm.
without further specification, and I quote, due to adverse drug effects.
Oh, you don't
Anything else?
say.
Yes, they indicate that her chief complaint was feeling numb and crazy depressed, identified passive suicidal ideation, notes that the,
Passive
I'm sure you can read
suicide.
all the diagnoses. My question, sir, is simple. It's on the
Passive
discharge
suicidal
diagnosis. That's all.
ideation.
yes, the discharge diagnosis was anxiety and depression.
And secondary to what?
They didn't
You just said
specify more about the depression because it was due to adverse drug effects.
Thank you.
And in your review of the record, sir,
Good
did you then
God.
see that the doctor at the Women and Infants at least was concerned enough about the older prescriptions that she reached out to Dr. Gelada to speak to her?
Dr. Jalaka?
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada.
Oh,
Okay.
look at him. He thought he got him right
Maybe,
there.
okay.
He was like,
July,
ooh, I
no,
got
who-
him. I got him. Watch this. Watch this smirk. Fuck you, dude. Watch this smirk.
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, what a douchebag.
To speak to her.
Dr. Jalaka?
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Gelada? I think you mean nurse practitioner Gelada. Oh, I'm very sorry. I didn't. Yeah, I should have said nurse. Yeah, I'm right. You're wrong.
To speak to her.
Dr. Jalaka?
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada.
Yes.
Okay.
Oof.
It's like Captain
That
Major,
smug
Captain
ass
Gelada. You know who
motherfucking
she is,
look.
right?
I do,
Fuck
yes.
him.
Did they reach out to nurse practitioner Gelada? Can
I did not see that in the records.
we break the adjustment because I got to break?
All right, it's 11 o'clock. So why don't we take a morning recess at this time?
All right, let's take a morning recess. Then we're going to come back to 4:10. Let's watch a little bit more of this, and then I also have to take a morning recess because I got to put some food in my belly. I'm hungry. We're going to go to 4:10. Let's see where we are here. 4:10.
When you were talking with her in Tewksbury, either you or the other guy in the hospital, interviewing her one of those 3 days,
Yes.
let me back up. Do you agree with me, sir, that if a person
Exactly,
has a
Sam.
memory while they're in a psychosis, that it's very possible that they could be imagining that they did something, but in fact, the facts, objective facts would show she didn't?
It's possible that being in an actively psychotic condition could affect the way information is processed and therefore could affect the accuracy of their memory.
So, for example, she told you that after she slashed her wrists and after she tried to slit her throat, that she used the knife to cut the screen before she threw herself out the window, right?
Yes.
Was the screen cut?
I understand that it was not.
Did that give you pause?
There are a number of things that I don't think are all that important
Oh, geez, here
in
we
terms
go.
of memory difficulties and accuracy of memory, and that was one of them.
Do you recall this morning indicating that you recounted that Lindsay told you that she felt, quote, like it wasn't her, end quote, as though she were watching herself commit the killings and that she was simply responding to the voice rather than consciously deciding what to do? Do you remember saying that this
I do,
morning? sir?
yes.
Would you agree that that description is consistent, almost black letter definition with profound disassociation?
My testimony was-
No. Is that, sir, consistent with profound disassociation?
No, it is
So the
consistent.
answer is no. The answer is no?
Yes.
Well, I was about to give the
I'm
rest
sure
of
you
the
were,
answer.
but the answer is no, is what you're saying, right? I just
Yes.
read to you what you testified to this jury this morning, right? Did I?
You
Did I
used,
read, sir? Hello, did I read what your words were this morning?
Wow.
I don't remember exactly what my words were this morning.
If Dr. Halbrin told this jury that when Lindsay was talking to you and or Mac in the hospital, she felt, and I quote, like it wasn't her, as though she were watching herself commit the killings and that she was simply responding to the voice rather than consciously deciding what to do, end quote. Question is, would you agree, sir, that watching oneself is consistent with disassociation?
Disassociation that is peritraumatic, which is what I testified.
So the answer is yes.
Well, you said profound dissociation, so the answer was no.
Last time I knocked out profound. I'm just asking,
Oh,
is
yeah,
that consistent
okay.
with disassociation?
It is consistent with peritraumatic dissociation.
Okay.
Yes.
Briefly, what is disassociation?
Dissociation is sort of the sense that you are removed from yourself. You're not feeling like yourself. It's something like you're in a position where your sense of time and your sense of self are altered. And it's also the sort of thing where you don't feel as if it's you anymore. Sometimes you feel as though you're watching a body that's you, but it's not really you.
And at disassociation, you agree in the DSM, using that book, is in fact defined as an altered mental state. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree with me that in your evaluations of Lindsay, after you guys had the chance to speak to her and consider all of the documentation, your opinion ended up, using your words, being in your mind two possible explanations? We talked about that, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And then you indicated that there were some possible things that made me believe that there was severe mental illness involved, right?
Yes,
And there was severe mental illness involved, right?
there were some possible things that made me think that it might have been a psychotic episode.
Right, but there were severe mental illnesses involved here, right?
Yes, there were.
Okay.
It's just a question of which kind.
Semantics.
Yes.
You talked about thought broadcasting, right?
Yes, I
And
did.
thought broadcasting, sir, would be if somebody hears a voice and is concerned that somebody else might have heard it, right?
No.
Okay, well,
Thought broadcasting.
that's what thought broadcasting is. Are you aware that Lindsay Clancy indicated to anyone that she was hearing or having these intrusive thoughts in her mind? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did she indicate that she was afraid that people could read her mind or knew what these thoughts were or whatever they were in her mind, intrusive thoughts?
She was afraid of that. And so one of the reasons that I asked her about the difference between hallucinations.
All right, hold on, please.
I can't be more
The
clear.
question, all right? And then if the Commonwealth wants to follow up, they'll be able to do that.
All right.
Go ahead.
Boop, boop.
Did she, according to Dr. Elburn's review, all the information in all the hours of time,
Yes.
determine that she was afraid that people could read her thoughts or knew what her intrusive dark thoughts were?
Yes.
Who did she say that to? Not just who?
Well, she said it to me.
Okay.
She said it to Dr. Mack.
Yeah, I'm sure she said it to Mac too. Put you guys aside. Who else, like people,
He
normal
hates
people, did
Mac.
she say that to? Talking out of home, but I mean people like friends or family or citizens or whatever.
I believe she said it to Patrick.
Okay.
And she may have said it to others as well.
She may have said it to others as well.
I don't remember who else she said it to, but she said it to Patrick.
But how can you come in here and testify about a young lady that is saying to people that she's having thoughts that are intrusive and dark and that she's worried that other people are reading her mind and know about it, and you don't even know who she said it to?
Oh,
No, overruled.
it's a good point.
One of the things that she said is that her thoughts were kind of intrusive and loud and I mean that sort of thing. And one of the things that she said was that she thought that because of that, other people might be hearing them or might know what they were.
Like even worried about dropping little Cora off at the school, and she was afraid that the teachers could hear her voices or thoughts. Read that.
I did read that, and that's one of the reasons I asked her for the difference.
Right. When I asked you if there were any, so that refreshed your memory that there was another person that she was concerned about.
Yes, I believe that's right. Yes,
How about her friends? Do you recall her telling her friends that she was worried about the teachers being able to read her thoughts?
I do not.
You indicated yesterday that one of the concerns or one of the issues or possibilities was at the time of the killings was acute psychosis, right?
I thought one of the possible
Is that-
explanations.
I don't want to let you run off, sir.
No, Council, next question.
Do you agree, sir, that you testified yesterday that at the time of the killings, one of the possible concerns that you had was whether or not there was an acute psychosis?
Psychosis.
One of the possible explanations for her
So
motivation
crazy.
and her state.
So the answer is yes, right?
No, overruled.
That's what you said yesterday, right?
Not exactly the way you phrased it, and that's what
Okay.
I'm responding to.
This is true, Rage Knitter. He's trying to be cautious and not say anything favorable to the defense. I agree.
Yesterday, sir, you were asked the next part of the evidence or what you saw against acute psychosis, and you referenced his discussion of whether this was postpartum. So let's stop there for a minute. Again, you know that postpartum is not a diagnosis, right?
I do know that, yes.
Okay.
He's about to
but
read
the
out.
reason that
So
it was
all the
not-
things that we just went over, the points. This is from the Edinburgh or Edinburgh, however you want to pronounce it.
Health organization cut off for a woman with postpartum depression or psychosis. What's the time frame? So I'm asking.
Of outcomes and time periods that different
I'm not
organizations
asking about
use.
outcomes and time periods. I'm asking about the World Health Organization cut off for a woman with postpartum depression or psychosis. What's the time frame?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
And then you indicated, now it could be something else. And there was certainly some stuff that I saw that were symptoms of depression and other sorts of things that she experienced in January, but it was given the time, it was less likely, I thought, to be postpartum. What did you mean by that?
I meant that she was 8 months after giving birth to Callan. And if you look at two sources of authority, which I relied on, the DSM-5 and the Cleveland Clinic, then neither one of those would suggest that postpartum was the more likely explanation as opposed to something else.
So if we put aside the DSM, when was the DSM? Strike that. Would you agree that the DSM virtually only mentions the whole concept of postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression in 2 paragraphs?
I would agree that they don't consider it to be a
Frustrated.
mental diagnosis in the same sense that other diagnostic areas are described in that manual.
Okay. Think that should change?
Objection.
No, overall.
Think that should change?
Do I think it should change?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I think it should change.
The way I look at this is that the DSM-5 and the Cleveland Clinic and the World Health Organization reflect different outcomes. And I think that one of the things that they do on the conservative end is they reflect something that is basically a month, excuse me, a month or 2 months, and something else on the very extended end is a good bit longer. I think it depends on a number of things in terms of how it changes, and I'm not in a position to offer an informed opinion on that, really.
Obviously.
Objection.
They'll be stricken.
Doctor, if Miss Clancy had a genuine command hallucination, which in fact did cause her to feel compelled to carry out the killing of her children
Yes.
and herself, would you agree that she lacks substantial capacity to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law? If in fact that was a genuine command hallucination that she believed?
Interesting.
That would
question.
depend on a number of things. It would depend, for
Let's
example,
not go through a number of things. So your answer is no?
and my answer would be it depends.
Okay, so it depends.
Next question.
Would you agree, sir, that in December of 2022, and she told you that at that time frame she had these thoughts that were in her head that would, quote, pop into her head, intrusive thoughts that included that her brain was damaged and that she had to kill herself. And she told you that, right?
She did.
Do you believe she was telling you the truth, sir?
Yes.
I stand corrected in one regard, sir. This morning I started
this
off
is
my
really
question by asking you about
interesting. Watch this.
49 years ago when you published an article on postpartum psychosis, and you agreed you were in college or something. But in fact, it was not postpartum psychosis. It was about schizophrenia, wasn't it?
Oh,
I'd have to think back 49 years, but I think that's right. Yes.
come on.
You
You
were
wrote the
transcripts of
fucking
interviews
paper,
with 32
dude. Come
schizophrenic
on.
patients, 15 male, 17 female, all with primary or secondary paranoid symptomology, were edited only to delusion relevant material. Does that refresh your memory, sir?
It does.
Okay, so it wasn't postpartum psychosis. You've never written about postpartum psychosis, right?
That's right.
Okay. So finally, sir, would you agree? And if you don't, just say, no, I don't agree. Postpartum depression. Are there tests that can be administered to? I'm not talking about a guy who's upset about his job. I'm talking about a woman who's just had a baby, who's going through the postpartum period, exhibiting signs of depression and or psychosis, okay?
Yes.
All right. Would you agree with me? A person can complain that they're less able to laugh or see the funny side of their
Here
life.
we go. This is the 10 points we just went over.
Is that a symptom, sir? If you know?
Are you asking me if that's a symptom of postpartum depression specifically or depression more generally?
Oh, no, I'm asking you about postpartum depression, sir. That's what I'm talking about right now.
All right.
Okay. Do you agree that a patient would complain that they're less able to laugh and see the funny side of life?
That's a symptom of depression.
No, you're going
Could
to
be
tell me it's a
postpartum
symptom of
Ah.
depression constantly. My question is, do you agree that it's a symptom of postpartum depression?
This is the DSM thing.
Yes.
Okay. Not looking forward to things.
And let me just say,
Oh, no, I don't want to let you do anything. Can you just tell me
No.
if stopping looking
Ugh.
forward to things is a
Stop,
complaint
bro.
that is common to postpartum depression?
God.
yes,
Anxious and worried for no good reason.
yes,
And Lindsay complained of anxiety and being worried for no good reason constantly, right?
yes.
She blamed herself for a lot of things in her life. Isn't that right?
She did, yes.
And she was not looking forward to the future. She was not happy with her life in the sense of the way she felt and wanted to go back to the way she was, right?
That's right.
How about complain? When I say complain, I don't mean complaining. It's just that that's a language you guys use. Complained about overwhelmed. Her day is overwhelming.
Yes,
So unhappy that she would cry constantly.
yes,
Sad and miserable.
yes.
Thoughts of harming herself, which is, according to the Mass Department of Mental Health, a flag in and of itself. She had thoughts of harming herself, right?
She did.
Okay, so those are all of the postpartum depression symptoms that a person can have, according to Mass General Hospital's
Thank you.
3-year review of postpartum depression and psychosis. So she hit all of these symptoms, right?
Right.
Those are symptoms of postpartum depression. They're also symptoms of depression.
I don't care what
broadly.
I'm asking you, sir. Are they symptoms of postpartum
That-
depression?
Yes.
All right.
You don't have to
And there's
qualify
a tool that
They're symptoms of
psychologists
both.
can use with a woman who's coming to a
Ugh.
doctor for help because of the symptoms of postpartum depression. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is that tool?
I don't know what the tool is, but I'm sure there is a measure of it. Yes. Of postpartum depression.
Okay. Have you ever used that measure?
I have not.
Have you ever read about it?
Possibly.
Do you even know what it is?
I don't know what it is.
Wow.
How about
Wow.
postpartum psychosis, sir? Same study. Hearing voices or a voice commanding a person to act. That's in the DSM, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Command hallucinations. Yes.
Delusional beliefs or distorted reality is a symptom that a person can complain of, right?
Delusional beliefs. Yes, or fixed false
distorted
beliefs,
reality.
yes.
Yeah, just next statement. Confused, disorganized thinking. She had that, right? It's in your report, I think, that she was baking or making a pie or something and forgot where she was.
Yes, she was having trouble with memory, attention, and concentration.
All right. Anxious and worried for no good. Strike that. Apologize.
Right.
Severe sleep deprivation. She had that, right?
Yes.
Rapid mood swings. She had that, right?
Not sure she had that.
Well, how about the time that Patrick told you that she would repeatedly find herself in the living room on the sofa and bury her head in the pillow and rock back and forth, crying hysterically?
When you said mood swings, that implies that
fucking hell.
at one moment you're feeling down and sad and depressed, and in another moment you're feeling quite differently. So
Right, and
I
then
don't
she
see
took
that
the
the
kids.
mood swings she had.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see that she was experiencing mood swings so much as she was experiencing symptoms of sadness and feeling down and lack of motivation, which are symptoms of depression.
What is akathisia? AKASTHESIA, I believe.
Yeah, I'd have to look that one up.
Wow.
Feeling overwhelmed. She felt overwhelmed.
She did, yes.
Not herself. Family seeing the change, obviously. Right?
Repeat the question, please.
Yeah, not herself. Semicolon. Family seeing the change.
Yes, correct.
Lord knows. I mean, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, her mother, her father, her husband, neighbors, people could see the change in her, right?
Yes, they could.
Okay. Continuing on with postpartum psychosis. Not herself. Thoughts of harming her children. That's a big red flag, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay. Thoughts of suicide. She complained of that, right?
correct.
Poor insight. She had poor insight at the end of January, didn't she?
I would not say she had poor insight. No, I think she understood pretty much where she was and the difficulty she was having and was aware of a number of things about that.
What?
So I had, Your Honor. Thank you.
Judy Sprague.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Doctor, those symptoms that Attorney Reddington just read you about postpartum depression, are those also symptoms for general depression?
They are symptoms for general depression. They are to some extent symptoms of major depression, which is a
This
more
isn't
extreme
helping
example,
you. This is not
a more extreme
helping you.
version of general depression. And they're also symptoms of bipolar disorder and bipolar
You
2.
wasted
And I
everyone's
thought
time.
at the end of this evaluation that her correct diagnosis was bipolar 2.
And why was that?
One of the reasons, as I testified yesterday, is that she has been in Tewksbury for 3.5 years, and that is her diagnosis of record bipolar disorder. But what that indicates to me is that having had the chance to see her, prescribe medications, and do a number of things, that they really think that she has a mood disorder of a fluctuating kind, a bipolar sort, as opposed to a major depression or some other kind of disorder.
Now, you were asked by defense counsel about the fact that you interviewed Ms. Clancy a little over 3 years after she killed her children. And your testimony was it's better to interview the person as soon as possible, right?
Correct.
But you were able to watch Dr. Resnick's interview of the defendant about 3.5 months after the incident happened, correct?
Yes.
And you were able to review all of her records leading up to when she killed the children and then after she killed the children all the way up to present day, correct?
Yes.
Is that something that you typically have when you do these forensic reviews, that much information, medical history and information on a patient?
I had more records information in this case than I have ever had in my career.
And so also, were you aware that you weren't allowed to interview the defendant until the court gave permission?
I really wasn't. I didn't know how the process worked.
But as soon as you were informed that you could meet with the defendant, you did, correct?
Yes.
And the fact that you had all of these resources, the records, the prior interviews, the recorded interviews of witnesses, the criminal file, the collateral interviews that you did that in any way aid you in overcoming whatever deficits you might have had in interviewing her 3 years later?
It did, yes.
And how so?
Because of how extensive the records were from different people, different observations, different times, and so on, they in effect created something that I would have tried to do myself if there had been fewer records available. So I would have tried, for example,
I'm going to object to what you would have done.
No, overall.
Right.
I would have tried to conduct a number of collateral interviews. I would have tried to go out and get some of the records myself if they'd not been available and provided to me. Usually I have to work a lot harder to get 10% of the records that I had in this case.
And you were provided with her complete psychiatric history from September through present day, correct?
I was.
Now, you were asked about being retained by our office and speaking to the prosecutors in the case. Did anyone from my office or myself or Ms. Buckingham ever tell you what your decision or what your evaluation to say in this case?
No.
And did we ever put any pressure on you in any way, shape, or form to come out on what defense counsel calls our side?
No.
And he also asked you about your interview itself with the defendant. At any point in time, was your conversation with Ms. Clancy hostile or aggressive or rude in any way?
No.
Did she ever ask you to stop and say she couldn't do it any longer?
She did not.
In fact, she declined a break at one point in time, correct?
For one of the days, yes. That was the third day.
Prior to reading the records in this case, did you form an opinion as to what her criminal responsibility was?
Why is she so out of
No.
breath?
In fact,
Simmer
I
down,
worked very hard to
Sprague.
avoid forming any kind of opinion until very late in the process when I'd had the chance to go through all the records, do the 3 days of evaluation, do the collateral interviews, and get everything I could have, because that's the kind of thing that helps you handle what's been referred to as confirmation bias, which is starting out with a good idea or a conclusion and then being drawn to the things that support that and avoiding the things that don't.
Would an example of confirmation bias be giving a press conference in which you diagnose a patient before you even do an evaluation of that patient? And then finding that same diagnosis that you initially made?
Well, an example of that would be saying before you had ever met with somebody that I have a diagnosis, and then meeting with them and then possibly resulting in your providing that diagnosis. So it could well be an influence of associated with confirmation bias.
Now, you were asked about the defendant telling you that she didn't like to leave the children, and how that was, how that impacted your evaluation of the defendant. And I think you were cut off on your answer. So if you could just tell us what you saw in terms of, or heard from the defendant in terms of her not wanting to leave her children, and how that impacted or influenced your evaluation.
That was an important consideration.
Objection. It's not responsive.
No, I'll go ahead.
If you could answer.
Yeah. That was an important consideration because one of the things that would go through your mind if you decided to take your own life would be something very important to you, like your children. And over a number of years and in a number of different...
Sorry?
This is way outside the scope of cross-examination.
No, I would allow this. Go ahead.
Proceed.
Over a number of years and in a number of different contexts, she didn't like to leave the kids. So the question might be, if you were possibly inclined to think about taking your own life, what would happen with the kids? And would they suffer without you? And could other people take care of them? And that turned out to be something that I thought was consistent with not wanting to leave your kids and not wanting them to suffer and so on. It all went together in how she thought about her own kids, felt about her own kids.
You were also asked by defense counsel in cross-examination about the defendant's concerns about taking Zoloft while breastfeeding. Do you recall in your interview with the defendant when she mentioned that as a result of her practice in labor and delivery as a nurse, she was aware that millions of pregnant women and postpartum women took Zoloft with no problem?
I do not recall that, no.
But that would be in your interview if it happened?
Yes.
Now, defense counsel asked you about your answer from direct testimony about all of the prescriptions and the different doctors being confusing. But being confusing was your description of of seeing all that information, not the defendant's description, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And could you explain that and how it was confusing in what way?
She had a number of diagnoses that people assigned to her, a number of symptoms. And one of the things that she experienced is that people were saying that she had something pretty minor, adjustment disorder with anxiety or adjustment disorder with mild depression or things like that, all the way up to things that were really major and really severe, postpartum psychosis, that sort of thing. And there were a number of things in between. So she was not sure what they were saying, and she was not sure whether they were prescribing the right medication for her. And even if it was something that she experienced, whether she was reacting badly to that medication. So that's basically my understanding, that there were a lot of things that people said, mental health care providers. Some of them were pretty minor as far as what was wrong with her, and some of them were not minor.
And in terms of the defendant being unsure about the effects the medication was having on her, she expressed a specific concern about Seroquel, correct?
Yes.
And what was the
mental disorder, including psychotic mental law?
Can someone who is experiencing psychosis and telling them to do
Objection to direct the witness.
nothing further? Thank you. Music or something to do.
Yes.
And you gave some examples, but someone trying to distract themselves with music or something like that, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to stop objecting, but I had a standing objection to the leading judge. This is my objection.
All right. It's redirect. I'll allow Commonwealth to use a leading question to direct the witness to a certain area of inquiry, and then just non-leading questions at that point.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
All right.
Couple of things. Sir, first of all, counsel was asking you a question about the inconsistent statement or what have you. You indicated, sir, if I stand corrected, you administered a test, the MMPI to her, right?
Yes, I did.
And one of the subcategories.
Let's go.
No, she asked about inconsistent statements.
No, yeah, overall.
Is the K scale or the lie scale, right? Yes or no? Just please, yes or no?
There it is.
The MMPI does have a K scale.
Okay.
And it does have an L scale.
Yes or no?
That
Just
measures
please,
the
yes or
person
no.
to you as the administering psychologist is bluntly lying, right?
No.
Okay. Does it also, in your testing, determine if the person is exaggerating their symptoms?
Yes, it's much
Okay,
closer
yes,
to that.
Answer is yes, thank you. And when you administered the test to Lindsay, close
It
to
is
3 years
really
later,
obnoxious,
you indicated that
honestly.
it was the fact that it was late that you administered the test. It was testing her at the time it was administered, right?
That's right.
And one of the things that, the results, by the way, if I understand, looking at your transcript of testimony, is regardless of all of your explanations about MMPI, and the other psychological testing. She was not elevated on anything except a suicide scale, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So she wasn't, according to the testing you administered when you saw her with Mac, exaggerating, lying, malingering, anything like that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And one of the things that you did in your report, sir, is regarding the lying and the malingering, is you made reference to, I believe, Dr. Resnick, Philip Resnick. You know him, right?
I do.
He's a significant authority in the field of psilocybin. Is that right?
He is.
And Dr. Resnick indicated, sir, that his opinion as to the lack of malingering, as well as yours, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And you made reference to one of Dr. Resnick's articles, actually, in your report, correct?
Some of his research on.
The answer is yes. We can make this easy. The answer is yes. Did you look at and cite Dr. Philip Resnick's
Why is
research
this so friggin'
report?
His research,
difficult?
yes.
Okay. And are you aware, sir, that what you cited is outdated? Are you familiar with the 2012 article by Dr. McCarthy Jones collaborating with Dr. Resnick talking about the largest study of hallucinations ever conducted in the world?
I'm aware that as a researcher, you build on some of the
No,
things.
not what researchers do. Are you aware of that report?
No.
Okay. Are you aware, sir, that that study was after the report that you cited in your report, and it involved 191 individuals who were asked almost 400 questions about auditory hallucinations? You aware of that?
No.
And are you aware, sir, that in fact it was determined that auditory hallucinations can come from within and it can come from without in that
Yeah.
report? You're not aware of that, right? No?
No.
Okay. Only other thing, there's been a lot of talk about how you had to wait, took a while, you had to get court orders to visit with Lindsay to conduct your investigation, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're not suggesting or trying to leave with this jury that it was me or my office that interfered or impeded. I think
Hot flash.
the question was that you were unable to see her. I have nothing to do with that, right?
Hot
Objection.
flash.
Ms. Cyber?
No. Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay. Sidebar. All right, we're just about done with this. We're going to get into the next witness, but before we do that, I need a quick break. Need a quick break. Gotta grab something to eat. How are we all doing? How are we feeling? She wasn't malingering. That's the case. Not guilty by reason of insanity. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Christine Genix, thanks for being a member for 2 months. Love you, those women. So happy to be here because of Dee Dee. Oh, we're glad you're here too. We love Bob and Allie. Yes, exactly, Birdie. Exactly. You should not have to obfuscate every fucking question. You have the answers. You did the research. You did your due diligence. Answer the fucking questions as they are asked. He is better than Mac. I'll give you that, Lady Harlot. Okay, what time is it? Let's say we're gonna be back at 10:35. 10:35. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play. I'm just gonna give you guys what is happening outside of the courtroom this morning because we were back into it. Emma. Okay, stop. Is this the right one? Okay, let's come back at, I need to make something to eat, so it's going to take a few minutes. So let's come back at 10:20. It is 10:19 right now, so 20 minutes, okay? I will be back shortly. I see DePietro. His weird little coat. This is from this morning. Oh, and there's Sue O'Connell. Who else we got here? This guy in the hat, this white hat. What the fuck is that? Okay. I wanted to show you guys. A member sent me this article. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Oh, by the way, I'm back. Hi. I'm a couple minutes early. Newsweek. Okay. This is about Green Dress Lady. And Brittany Romano dropped by Vanity Fair for Clancy trial behavior. I want to know what you guys think about this. It's fascinating. Brittany Romano is no longer credentialed by Vanity Fair following her behavior during the Lindsay Clancy murder trial, which sparked major backlash. The magazine told Newsweek that it had decided not to move forward with a personal essay by Romano about her experience growing up with Clancy after Romano was caught appearing to smile and wink at the courtroom camera while seated in the gallery. We were interested in the prospect of a personal essay by Brittany Romano about her experience growing up with Lindsay Clancy, the Vanity Fair spokesperson told Newsweek yesterday. After clear conflicts with our editorial standards and processes, we informed Romano that we are no longer moving forward with her essay and informed the court that she is no longer credentialed by Vanity Fair. Romano, described online as Green Dress Lady, has become the subject of intense scrutiny since footage of the courtroom moment spread rapidly online, prompting criticism from viewers and a public response from Romano, who said she has received abusive messages in the fallout. We don't agree with that. The controversy has also brought renewed attention to Romano's connection to Clancy. In a live stream following the court incident, Romano said she had grew up with Lindsay, explaining that she laughed when the camera appeared because Clancy looked at her and she looked back. That's not exactly what she said, actually. Newsweek, you got that part wrong. Social media users have also circulated a childhood photograph that they claim shows Romano and Clancy together as children. Romano has addressed the incident in a lengthy Instagram post where she wrote that a smile is not a crime and that she has nothing to apologize for. She's changed her story a little bit here, though, just so you know. I don't know if you guys can see Dolly on the screen, but Dolly's on the screen where she was just a second ago. She says, quote, "I smile through anxiety. I smile when I'm uncomfortable. That is not indifference. It is a nervous system managing strain the only way it knows how," she said, before linking her experience of the backlash to the case and women's mental health. Quote, "Cry and a woman is dramatic. Smile and she doesn't care. Stay composed and something must be wrong with her. We decided the meeting first and spend the rest of the time making her prove it, and that is the identical logic that has followed Lindsay for 2 years." Yeah, Lindsay, but not you. You are not on trial for unaliving your 3 children. So it doesn't matter if you're smiling or not. Man, some people are very egotistical. She also disputed the idea that she was contracted to write the piece for Vanity Fair. Quote, "I am a credentialed freelance journalist, and Vanity Fair allegedly told TMZ they revoked my access over the smile, which is absurd since I never had a contract with them for a piece to begin with," end quote, she wrote. Newsweek has reached out to Romano via email and social media for comment. This woman. This is what she did. These are screen grabs. Winking at the camera, smirking. The issue, I mean, she addressed this outside of court. And so what she's saying now is not what she said outside of court. So let me see if I can find that interview for you. I think people make bad decisions. Let me just state that. I think people make bad decisions in the moment, and I think that this shouldn't live with her for the rest of her life. But I also think that if she is representing Vanity Fair, that falls below their journalistic standards or ethics or whatever it might be, then that needs to be taken into consideration. And if they had hired her to do a piece on Lindsay Clancy, or they had contracted her to do a piece on Lindsay Clancy, then she should be conducting herself in a more professional way in the courtroom. But her saying now that laughing and smiling is just a tick or a thing that she does when she's nervous is not what she said outside of the courtroom. So let me find that interview. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, here it is. I don't know if this is the right one. Hold on.
Smiling and winking at the camera in a very flippant manner. This behavior quickly
I don't
sparked
think this
public
is the right
outrage,
one.
with many netizens demanding Vanity Fair fire her. Less than 6 hours after the incident, but Tarini came forward to defend her actions. First, she said her dad had told her to
This
smile more, yet this was a case involving loss of human life. There was simply no place for laughter in the solemn.
Okay. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the interview outside court. Where is it? I'm not gonna do News Nation. Jesus. Maybe it's under the post. Not that I want to do the post either. Oh, great, an ad. Okay. So this is the moment. Hold on. This is the moment.
All right.
There's Bob.
Representative.
Ew. Why? Why did she do that? Why did she do that? And I guess this doesn't have the interview in it. They're just going to keep playing it. So basically, I'll just paraphrase what she said. Outside of the courthouse, they interviewed her. Someone interviewed her. And she did have it up on her social media at some point. But she said that her dad saw her on court on TV. And he was like, "You look so grumpy. You should smile more," which is something that, you know, probably a boomer dad says. But she says that's why she did that. She was communicating with her father through the camera. And it's just like, still, regardless. So I don't know. It's just, what's your opinion, you guys? Do you think that Vanity Fair should have dropped her? Do you think that she should be receiving backlash like she has? I don't want to like say someone's dumb instincts, you know, should live with them for the rest of their life, but that is not the way you act in this courtroom in particular. And yes, Lady Harlot, I actually agree with you on this. It does seem like she was trying to capitalize on her connection to Lindsay. She wasn't looking at Lindsay. She was looking at the camera. If it was looking at the defense table, she'd be looking away. I agree. She says she'd looked at Lindsay just before the camera panned to her. Regardless, I believe what she first said outside of the court, which is that her dad told her to smile more. It's a bad decision, really bad decision. I think everybody was trying to. Lady Harlot says, "Ma'am, there were at least a dozen other women around you and no one had anything to say about their demeanor. What does that tell you?" Yeah, exactly. And they were all just doing what they were supposed to be. You're in court at a trial where a mother unalived her 3 children. You don't like smirk and joke around and wink even to your father through a camera in the courtroom. You don't do that. At first, I thought she had lost her contract with Vanity Fair because of this, and that was, you know, had nothing to do with Lindsay Clancy necessarily. But the idea that she might have been contracted to write a story about Lindsay Clancy, and then this is the way she acted on a credential from Vanity Fair in that courtroom, if that is the case. I haven't personally vetted it. This is what Newsweek is reporting, and they got some of the stuff wrong, so take that with a grain of salt and do your own research. I'm just like, yeah. Smiling out of nervousness does not involve a head tilt and a wink, ma'am. And she's been posting like snarky responses on her Instagram and then taking them down and posting them, and just, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I have the worst tickle in my throat this morning. I'm so sorry, guys. It was in bad taste. People were criticizing her publicly. Vanity Fair has every right to let her go. My thoughts exactly. So we're not going to spend any more time on it, but I just wanted to bring it up. Someone had sent it to me via email. You just don't do it, Miss K says, and I agree with Miss K. All right, let's get this back up. So we're on to the next witness. Let's see, this is day 21. That's not the one I want. It's not the one I want. Okay. Oh man, why does it keep doing that? That's not the one I want, you guys. Did everybody get something to eat? Did you guys take a break? Step outside, do some stretches, like Bev used to tell the jury. Okay, we are on. This is the witness that is probably going to drive everybody nuts. He definitely drove me nuts, and I have a really hard time listening to him, which is why I definitely have him sped up. And of course, on top of that, just to make matters worse, he's also on direct, so we have to listen to Frack over here, ask him questions, and that is obnoxious. So she's trying to build a social media presence. That's what I took from it. Let's see. I mean, she's a fashion reporter, I guess. Here, I'll just show you really quickly her Instagram so you guys can get a feel for who she is. I'm annoyed and grossed out by it. I'll just say that. This is what she took off a bunch of videos that she had up. Let me see. Yeah, see her Instagram is on pause basically because everyone's going to it. A smile is not a crime. Telling a woman to slit her wrists is. Who told Lindsay to do that? Besides the voice that she heard in her head. What is she talking about? For 2 years, I have fought to cover the Lindsay Clancy case honestly, because at its center is a mother accused of killing her 3 children during postpartum psychosis, and because the conversation around her has spent that whole time swinging between calling her a monster and asking what actually broke inside of her. Women's mental health was never a side note in that coverage. It was the whole point. Yesterday, I smiled in court for 3 seconds, and TMZ pulled the footage from Court TV's feed and turned it into 2 articles about me on the same day Dolly Parton died. I smiled through anxiety. I smile when I'm uncomfortable. That is not indifference. It is a nervous system managing strain the only way it knows how. Cry and... Oh, Jesus, I can't with this. This is such bullshit. I was not alone in that frame either. Lauren from Netflix was laughing beside me, and Karen, a local blogger, sitting behind me, had her head on my shoulder, and neither of them drew a single article. Only my expression became news. Yeah, because you were winking and vamping it up for the camera. It wasn't just about you smiling. None of that reflex is abstract to me. I grew up on the same street as the Musgroves, and when my own mother's bipolar disorder made my childhood home unsafe enough that DCF removed her, the Musgroves house was where I felt safe. I live with my own mental health struggles too. I went back to Vanity Fair last week for a specific reason. They gave Patrick Clancy a platform to tell his version when this case first broke, a version that now conflicts with his own sworn testimony. I wasn't asking for a favor. I was asking them to rebalance the scales. I am a credentialed freelance journalist, and Vanity Fair allegedly told TMZ they revoked my access over the smile, which is absurd, since I never had a contract with them for a piece to begin with. Newsweek has DM'd me multiple times, and Inside Edition found my private cell number. I have been told repeatedly to take accountability and apologize when I have nothing to apologize for. What I've actually received are messages telling me to slit my wrists, threats to kill me in my sleep, and a resource of ways to kill myself sent by people who claim they are defending Lindsay's mental health. If you actually believe a woman's mental health mattered, you would not hand another woman a method. You would not treat suicide as a punishment, and you would not claim to protect one woman's humanity while stripping another woman of hers. A smile is not a crime. A human moment surviving a hard day is not an invitation to destroy someone. Cover the case, to cover the verdict, cover the family. This was always about, and leave my expression out of it. Man, she made that about her real quick. This is her. This is her. Okay, doesn't matter. Christ. Your dad is not in charge in the courtroom. Agreed. She should stick to fashion. I'm sure she's more than qualified to talk about shoes. I don't care. If she wants to report on this, that is her prerogative. It sounds to me like she's kind of saying that Vanity Fair lied, but what it sounds like to me is that she went to Vanity Fair because she thinks Patrick lied to them. And she's against Patrick. I couldn't understand that whole thing. She wasn't explaining it very well. The whole thing is just weird. I don't know. Jacqueline, thank you for the $10 tip. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the Clut Cash. If you guys want to send over some Clut Cash and have your message read, I will read it aloud to the class. You can Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. It's all at the top of the screen. And I'll read your message out. You can leave a longer message on Venmo, of course, than you can here on the Super Chats. And unless you don't want me to read it, then make sure at the top you put, don't read this, because I will just start reading it. Okay. What in the world would this lady, Emily Cat said? Yeah, I know. Oh, I thought she was saying she approached Vanity Fair because she respected her coverage. Her coverage? I didn't read it that way. I read that she wanted to correct the record. And I'm not sure what record she's talking about because she hasn't been involved in Lindsay and Patrick's marriage or what happened on this night. She just knew Lindsay when she was a kid. But I don't know. Maybe let me read it again. Maybe I got it wrong. Hold on. Maybe I got it wrong. Brittany Romano. I'm so congested today. I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay. I went back to Vanity Fair last week for a specific reason. They gave Patrick Clancy a platform to tell his version when this case first broke, a version that now conflicts with his own sworn testimony. I wasn't asking for a favor. I was asking them to rebalance the scales. I don't know what that means. Is that how you guys are hearing it? I'm hearing it differently. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Say,
all right, this guy.
Ms. Clancy, correct, she had.
This
saying
guy.
this.
Oh,
Narcotic
God.
medication to believe.
Sam the Eagle. Sam the Eagle on the
morning.
stand.
Morning.
There we go.
Yesterday, when we left off, you were testifying about the decision-making process
Wait, yesterday
of the
when we left
defendant
off.
and what she.
Oh, I'm on the wrong day. Shit, sorry, guys. I was like, wait, we just started this testimony. What do you mean leaving off? It's so confusing. Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, first name is Gregory. Gregory, last name Saathoff, Saathoff.
And can you describe for us your educational background?
Yes, I received my undergraduate degree at the University of Notre Dame, and then my medical degree, my MD, at the University of Missouri, and then my residency in psychiatry at the University of Virginia.
And can you describe for us your occupation?
We're gonna.
Yes, I'm a professor.
I'm not gonna take you guys all through. I'll tell you what he has. Okay. Saathoff, professor of emergency medicine and public health sciences at UVA, senior psychiatrist for the FBI's behavioral analysis unit at Quantico since 1996. So he's got tons of experience. Evaluated thousands of psychotic and correctional patients over 34 years. So he's been in prisons for 34 years, evaluating patients, apparently thousands of psychotic patients. He also co-authored a seminal 1987 medical journal study on bromocriptine induced postpartum psychosis in new mothers, which contributed to the FDA removing the lactation suppression drug from the market. Bromocriptine is, I believe, the name of the drug. And so with Lindsay, he conducted, so this is another person who never met Lindsay in person. He conducted 2 Zoom evaluations with her that totaled 11.5 hours in May and June of 2026, just a couple months ago, alongside collateral interviews with Patrick Clancy. So he interviewed both Patrick and Lindsay. So let's get to the crux of his testimony, which he's mostly talking about the voices, or the voice, because he that's what he deals in, psychosis.
Able to have a transcript of you're writing note or of
I just want to warn you guys. I need to put this closed captions up. I want to warn you guys, this guy, I think he has some sort of a speech impediment. He takes these pauses that last like 10 seconds in between words sometimes. So I have sped this up. We are on 1.5. Let me know if you want me to speed it up or more or less. If we speed it up anymore, we're not going to be able to understand what Frack is saying. So here we go.
In the past, using a Zoom format, there are certainly advantages to being in person.
Did you, in your interviews with Ms. Clancy, have any difficulties having her answer questions or establishing a rapport with her?
No, she was very pleasant, very responsive to questions that I asked on both occasions.
Were there any benefits to doing the interviews on Zoom?
Well, one benefit that one doesn't always have with an in-person evaluation is that a platform like this can also save the entire interview, and both video of the interviewer, myself, but also Ms. Clancy. So if someone wants to really understand that the interview and how it went, you not only have a transcript, but you have a video that really demonstrates the course of the interview, how it went. And that can be very helpful. That can be more helpful than if, as a clinician or as an assessor, I am writing notes. Because when you're writing notes, sometimes it's harder to be able to attend to the individual. So,
good point.
Certainly, being able to have a transcript of the interview is helpful, and I think it makes the process more transparent as well, which I think is a positive.
As part of your evaluation in this case, did you also interview what's known as collaterals or other people who knew the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Who did you interview?
Well, I interviewed Patrick Clancy, also on a Zoom platform.
And after you had reviewed all of the records that were provided to you and the criminal file and all the evidence that was provided to you and conducted these interviews, both with Ms. Clancy and Patrick Clancy, were you able to conduct an analysis of all of that material in order to come to your eventual conclusions?
Yes.
And if we could just go through your analysis of this case, and if we could start with, I think what you called in your report, Ms. Clancy's characterization of the command auditory hallucinations.
Yes. So Ms. Clancy stated to me and some other evaluators that her hallucination, that of an external voice, something coming from outside of her head, occurred when she was standing at the refrigerator. She said that she was in the process of making her children their dinner when she received a call from Patrick Clancy, returned the call, and then as soon as she finished the call with Patrick Clancy, she said that is when she heard the voice. This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids and then kill yourself. And so that was what she told a number of us. There are also other accounts that she made to individuals that were quite a bit different. To Dr. Spinelli, for example, she said that the voice happened at 5:10 or 5:15 p.m. as soon as Patrick Clancy left on his errands. And that the voice, she described the voice to Dr. Spinelli as increasing in intensity, but saying, this is your last chance. You have to kill your kids before you kill yourself. But also that it was that her children would suffer if she did not do that. When I asked her about the voice that she heard, again, she said that it started really right after the telephone call at 5:34 with her husband, Patrick. And she said it was a man's voice. It's very clear. It was external. In other words, it came from outside of her head. That it was constant. So this phrase, "This is your last chance. You have to kill your kids and then kill yourself," was something that was repeated over and over and over and over again during that period that she strangled her children.
So just to be clear, this guy goes into some detail about the kids' deaths, and I don't want to cover that, but I can sort of paraphrase it for you. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. Basically, he's saying they are saying, I don't know where they're getting this time frame, but they're saying it took her 18 minutes to do this entire thing. 3 children. And attempt to unalive herself. So he said, the voice said to her, "This is your last chance," and that it was on repeat, just the exact same phrase of a man's voice coming at her for 18 minutes. And again, I posed this at the beginning of this episode. If this was premeditated, or she was in her right mind, any human being, I don't think there's a human being out there that would think that they would be able to do this in 18 minutes. You have to be under some sort of spell to get this done as quickly as she did. And I want to go into detail about how long it takes to, unalive somebody by putting your hands on their neck, especially a child. But you have this in the same way that when you attempt to unalive yourself and you are causing yourself atrocious pain, like any kind of cutting action, your body and your brain tries to stop you from doing that. I would assume your body and your brain do the same thing when you're trying to do it to somebody else. So if she was able to get this done as quickly as she did, it's because there was urgency, because somebody was telling her to do it, because she needed to get this done. It wasn't, "I have to get this done before Patrick comes home." How could she know? What if Patrick was like, "Oh, I feel weird. Like maybe I need to go back and check on Lindsay and the kids," and walked in the middle of that? She certainly didn't want that to happen, right? So he also brings up this weird thing. It makes me think, do you have kids, sir? Or do you have women in your life? Because I don't think you understand what happens when you're parenting, especially little kids. And especially when you're a single mom, not a single mom, but when you're a mom home alone with 3 kids under the age of 6, and you're trying to remember to tell your husband to pick something up, and you're not sure if he's going to go to the right place. The restaurant you normally order from takeout from wasn't open on Tuesdays, so you got to find a different place. Like all these things. Plus, you're feeling guilty because you should have made dinner, but you didn't get a chance to. You're not feeling like it, so you're asking Patrick to go and pick up dinner. All these things are happening at this time, right? And this is what he focuses on.
Now, based on your training experience, is it typical for someone in psychosis to hear a voice and immediately act on it?
No.
And why is that?
I'd like to have a Dobia hearing at this point, Judge, unless this is,
A Dauber here.
I'd like to test his qualifications.
Dauber.
Same objection, same ruling.
So your opinion is it's not typical, correct?
Correct.
Now, you mentioned the defendant told you that when she received the call from her husband at 5:33 and called him back at 5:34, that she was getting dinner ready for her children, correct?
Yes.
And did she tell you what she was about to get out of the refrigerator?
Yes. She said she was at the refrigerator and that the refrigerator door was open and that she was getting chicken nuggets out of the refrigerator section for her children.
Now, in your collateral interview with Patrick Clancy, did you learn from him that when he left the residence, the children were already eating chicken nuggets on the couch?
Yes.
And did Patrick Clancy tell you that Dawson in particular was eating chicken nuggets and green beans out of a bowl on the couch?
Yes, that's what he told me.
And is it fair to say that there are crime scene photographs showing a bowl on the couch?
Yes.
And so is there any significance to you in the defendant telling you that when she got the phone call from Patrick, when he's at CVS, that she's making chicken nuggets versus Patrick and telling you that had already happened and the crime scene photo showing you the bowl was already on the couch?
Well, it's inconsistent.
You guys. For those of you who are parents out there, and you make some chicken nuggets for your kiddo, and they're eating the chicken nuggets and the beans on the couch, and they're like, Mom, I want more chicken nuggets. What do? You go get more chicken nuggets and you make them. Like, inconsistencies, really? Or maybe she misremembered it. Maybe she just, like, can't remember that day 3 years ago when she had a psychotic break and was on a bunch of meds and was hearing voices. Maybe I mean, it's so stupid that he's going to tie that to her mental state, in my opinion.
And are inconsistencies like that important in your evaluations in cases like this?
Yes.
And how so?
Well,
There it is. There's
looking at someone's mental status at the time of an offense, it's important to understand what was going on in their mind at the time. And in this case, the widely divergent reports from Lindsay Clancy versus her husband, Patrick.
I also, sorry to interrupt this guy, not sorry to interrupt him, but sorry to keep interrupting for you guys. The other significance of this moment with the refrigerator is that it's supposedly when Patrick called at 5:33. And so I still don't know how they are determining at what time she did this and how long it took her, because Patrick was gone for close to an hour, as I understand it. So how do they know about this 18-minute time frame? If they're basing it on her heart rate, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. So, you know, I just don't, there is no significance of this to me. None whatsoever, except for the fact that Patrick called and Lindsay says, here, let me, Lindsay told this doctor that when Patrick called at 5:33 p.m., she was actively opening the refrigerator to pull out chicken nuggets for the children. However, Patrick reported, and crime scene photos confirmed, the children had already finished eating chicken nuggets and green beans on the couch before he left the house at 5:15. Well, maybe they wanted more. What are we talking about? Okay, I'm not even gonna. All right, let's skip ahead to this. Again, he is looking at any possible inconsistency to say that she was of her right mind. I don't agree with his takes on this. I'm not a doctor, but this just seems weird. There he is. There's Sam the Eagle. Hold on. There's Sam the Eagle. There he is. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. I don't know. He just, as soon as I saw his face, I was like, God, what Muppet is it that he reminds me of? Sam the Eagle. Okay. Yeah, I agree with this, Lady Harlot. The 18 minutes is a made-up figure they're repeating, so it sounds true. Also, Lindsay was outside for long enough for her body temp to plunge. Yes. Yeah, I don't know how they came to this conclusion. They keep repeating it. It's not real to me. None of it makes sense. We'll see what Reddington does on cross, but we're not going to get to his cross today, just so you know. Tomorrow is when we will cover the cross.
Your evaluation of her.
Well, it's inconsistent and doesn't match up with that collateral information. So her depiction of the lack of mental health care at Spalding didn't match up with the evidence from Spalding in terms of the documents. Spalding is a rehab hospital, and that is they were really concentrated on the spinal injury, but also did have mental health services available.
And Doctor, moving along in your analysis, did you look into and evaluate the defendant's decision to send Patrick Clancy on errands on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
And what stood out to you as significant in what you learned from the records and from Ms. Clancy herself in that area?
I asked Ms. Clancy to tell me about that afternoon and specifically that decision for takeout. And as I recall, She
This is so weird again.
told me that she texted her husband Patrick basically to say
He also had, okay, so besides the lengthy pauses that he says every other word, and he also has a throat whine. Do you guys know what I mean with that? He's like, well, I don't know. Like it's like it makes me cringe. Despite the look on my face says noting inconsistency is great. Some inconsistency happens with time. Them attributing more to it should be is maddening. Agreed.
how what would you think about having takeout? It's been a long day, and it's a fairly broad, open-ended request, and that he responded positively. And from then, she made the arrangements to look up the distance between their home, and 3D restaurant in Plymouth, but also looking at basically making plans to
It's not that deep,
have the
dude.
food ordered. And she had texted her husband ultimately and asked him about, to tell her what order to make. And so in looking at the record, it was really reversed. Instead of starting with asking her husband, what would you think about takeout? How about getting takeout? The record shows that Ms. Clancy did a lot of searching prior to that in terms of
What the fuck?
3V, the distance, and the like. So there were a number, getting information prior to requesting a text, or sending a text to her husband. And in the text, rather than saying, what would you think about getting takeout, she said, how about getting takeout at 3V? I am, it's been a long day, etc.
Does anybody else like plan something out and then say to your spouse, hey, how about we do this tonight for dinner? You cool with that? Great. I've already looked at the menu. I've already figured out how long it's going to take for you to get there. Like, so it's not a burden on you. So we don't have to have a 10-minute conversation going, well, what do you want to eat? Oh, I don't know. I was thinking maybe, I don't know. What do you feel like? What do you think? Lindsay's making fucking decisions for her family. That's what she's doing. She's scheduling shit. She's making sure Patrick has all the information so she doesn't have to answer stupid questions. She is making sure he knows where he needs to go. This is what she does. This has been established. The fact that the reason why this is sticking out to this guy is because he doesn't know her, because he hasn't listened to all this testimony, because he doesn't know that this is how she ran her household. And also, she was suffering with mental defects and was on a ton of meds and was trying to be as normal as possible. This is so fucking weird to me. I hate that this guy is like, so in researching, she did it in the seconds, minutes, even an hour, maybe before she contacted Patrick. And to me, that feels inconsistent. And I'm not sure why she looked up 3V before, and she didn't ask him what he wanted. She just told him or suggested to him. And I'm like, bro, this woman ran a tight ship. She's planning dinner for her family because she feels guilty that she's not cooking it herself. And she doesn't want to burden her husband with a lengthy conversation about, well, what do you want? Well, I don't know. What do you want? What are you feeling like? Well, where should we go? Thai food? Chinese food? Indian? Salads? Sandwiches? I don't know. What do you, I don't know. You know how these conversations go. She's trying to cut down on the time and the responsibilities that they each have in this moment. And on top of that, let's say at the very most, if Patrick hadn't sat in the parking lot and Patrick hadn't gone to CVS, he would have been gone for like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, right? They're making such a big deal about the fact the restaurant was 6 miles away. I'm just like, what? You know what? While you're picking up dinner, stop by the CVS, right, Simna? Exactly. Like, oh, by the way, Cora, we need to pick up this medication for Cora. Do you mind doing it while you're out? Like, oh, Christ almighty. This is like reaching.
And so this reversal in terms of what she told me and what actually we see in the collateral, I thought was significant.
How so?
Christ.
Well, she told me that the only restaurant that she could think of, could remember about getting takeout was 3B. Patrick told me that they had never gotten takeout from 3B. He named
Oh my God.
West End Grill and Chestnut Grill as places that were in Duxbury and close by that they liked and that they often got takeout from. They had been to 3B and they liked it. They had gone as a family.
Great.
But they had never
Maybe
gotten
that's what
takeout
she
there.
wanted. Maybe that's
Takeout
what she
from
wanted.
3B. And so presenting not just the idea of takeout, but how about 3B? And she had already done lots of checking about distance and the like. I thought was inconsistent.
This guy's ridiculous.
What I saw from the record was not what she told me in terms of the order in which she made those decisions, and
Ridiculous.
And so I saw that as being significant.
Yeah, great.
And was there a similar scenario with the request of Patrick from the defendant to
this one.
also go to CVS?
This one's crazy.
Yes.
And so what was the difference between what she told you about the plan to go to CVS and or what she told Patrick and what she had done in terms of research?
Well, the research for, I think it was Miralax, which was suggested for Cora's constipation. They had an appointment that morning in pediatrics, and this was suggested that the Miralax and CVS was something that Ms. Clancy looked into sometime after 4 o'clock, but not long after 4 o'clock, and well before she contacted her husband. But that she did not communicate to her husband the importance of picking up Miralax at CVS, who she had called, until really right before he left. So he had planned on going to 3B, driving to 3B, almost 6 miles, to get the takeout. And then she also added on that other errand.
Oh my God. She added on an errand as he was walking out the door. They didn't have a communication about it an hour earlier when she looked it up and called CVS. She remembered just as he was going out the door, oh shit, we need Miralax. Do you mind stopping by CVS as well? I've already called it in because that's what I do. I run a tight ship. I'm a good mom. This guy, I hope that the jury has to be like, are you kidding me, bro, right now? Are you fucking kidding me? Even the people who are like, she unalived her kids, put her under the courthouse. Even those people have to be like, I did that last night. When my husband was bitching about having to go pick up dinner. I added something on and I felt shitty about it and he complained about it, but he went and did it, even though he had to call me from the CVS to make sure he knew what I was talking about because he didn't listen the first time I told him. What is this fucking guy on? What is he on? This guy pisses me off more than many of the other witnesses that the prosecution has put up. He doesn't know Lindsay. He doesn't know this case. He did 2 Zoom sessions with her and asked her to recount something that happened 3 years ago when she was having a psychotic break, was on a bunch of meds, postpartum depression, anxiety, a traumatic event, tried to unalive herself, became paralyzed, was in the hospital, and now 3 years later, you're asking her to recount the chicken nuggets and why she told Patrick as he was walking out the door to go to CVS. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Right before he left.
And so was it significant to you that she had researched the Miralax and looked into CVS an hour before, but just added that that part of the errand on right before her husband left?
Yes.
And why?
Well, it lengthened the trip.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It added one extra obligation.
Is that what it was? You had to pause and think about the word obligation. I can't with this fucking guy. Let's skip ahead. All right, this is where we're going to talk about something else that's stupid. Okay. This is another one where I was like, what are you on, bro? What are you talking? Have you ever humaned before? Do you human on a daily basis? Do you get out there in the world and human? Do you human inside your own home? Because I don't think you understand humans. I don't think you've been a human for a long time.
That would make for a longer time that he was away.
And moving along in your analysis, you discuss Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt, and you say that it was serious, but required sequential decision-making. Is that correct?
Here we go with the sequential decision-making
Can you just repeat
again.
that?
Sure. In your report, you describe Ms. Clancy's suicide attempt as serious, correct?
Correct.
And you also state that it required sequential decision-making. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about why you found that it was serious and how you found that it required that sequential decision-making?
Well, I think in looking over her records previous to that day, 24 January, she had contacted Aspire twice, the suicide hotline, and spoken to them. And really, as I recall, since early December had been speaking about suicidal ideation. So this was something that that was significant for her.
You think?
There was, of course, an assessment that in the emergency department that on the 15th of December. So you look through the record and that you do see that she was concerned about self-harm and suicidal ideation.
You think?
If we look at the actual day after the children were killed, or after the children were strangled, Callan was still living at the time that EMS arrived.
Okay.
She told me that she got a knife from the took an overdose, and I asked her
part that I want you to hear
about that, really trying to understand.
Here we go.
No, overall.
Really to try and understand how she accomplished the overdose, because if you're swallowing lots and lots of pills, that can be difficult. And so how many handfuls of pills did you take or whatever? And then she told me that she had slashed the screen and dove out the window.
Slash the screen with a knife.
Ask you a question. In terms of taking the pills, what did Ms. Clancy tell you about how she took the pills?
I'm sorry?
What did Ms. Clancy tell you about how she took the pills?
This is a weird exchange. Now, he has left out, we all know that there was a tumbler, like a wine tumbler on the bedside table, and it said because children, or because kids, I can't remember which one it was, which is really sad. There was liquid in the cup, and a bunch of the meds she had been prescribed were crushed up and put in the cup, and that's how she got them into her system. The fact that he just told the jury that she might have taken handfuls of pills is not how she ingested those pills. And what the prosecutor wants him to say, she wants him to get into the fact that she crushed the pills, because that's the part that is inconsistent and also sequential about this, apparently. And he doesn't want to go there for some reason. So let's watch this.
It wasn't really very clear. I was.
Objection. The question, what she said is the question.
Do you recall what she said?
Did you see his face when Reddington objected? Watch this. He's like, "What? What? Am I not the only one in this room? What? There are other people here? Is everyone else humaning? Are we all humaning today?" Watch this.
Objection. The question, what she said is the question.
I want to do it one more time.
Took the pills.
It wasn't really very clear. I was.
Objection. The question, what she said is the question.
What? 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 Where am I? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Very clear. I was.
Objection. The question, what she said is the question.
I can't. What? Is there are other humans in this room with me. We are not on Zoom. Are we not Zooming? Is this a Zoom? There. First of all, he just answered the question, did she tell you how she got the pills into her system? Something along those lines. And he said, it wasn't very clear to me, which is crazy because it's clear to the rest of us because we already know the answer to this question. Right?
Question.
Do you recall what she said?
I'm sorry.
Do you recall what she said about taking the pills, whether she took handfuls or did something else?
Oh, she did not say that she took handfuls.
But you just said that she took handfuls. That's why if she were taking handfuls, it would be difficult. And the prosecutor really wants him to talk about her crushing up the pills, but he's not going there for some reason.
She did not describe the overdose in any specific terms.
Then how can you testify to it if she didn't describe it to you? Why are we here?
Did she tell you anything about crushing up pills?
Leading. Thank you, Reddington.
It's already been answered. Next question.
Did she give you any other information about taking the pills?
No.
And he won't answer it. Do you hear this? She wants him, let's go back a little bit. She wants him to be like, yeah, she crushed up the pills. I don't know what the significance is there, but he won't do it. He's not taking the bait. Even when she asks him a leading question, can you tell us about her crushing up the pills, basically? And Reddington objects, and he still won't answer the question about crushing. He wants to talk about it later in his testimony, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the sequential thing. I'm not really sure. But he's not going with what Frack here wants him to do.
Whether she took handfuls or did something else?
Oh, she did not say that she took handfuls.
Even though you just did.
She did not describe the overdose in any specific terms.
Did she tell you anything about crushing up pills?
Leading question.
It's already been answered. Next question.
Did she give you any other information about taking the pills?
Listen.
No.
Nope. It was confusing to him how she did it, is what he said. So I don't know what we're on about here.
Now, if you could tell us that portion that I asked you about earlier, what is sequential decision making, and how did you see that in
she's
her
getting
behavior?
back to what she wants him to talk about.
Well, as I mentioned, after strangling the 3 children with the exercise bands.
Jesus. Really?
Went up the steps, went to the kitchen. She got a knife and then ascended yet.
Okay, we're going to cut through this a little bit.
Cutting her wrists, as well as described the overdose and barely. It's just hard for me to get a good idea about.
Then don't
how
testify
specifically the
about it.
overdose
You can't
occurred,
testify
but
about
she
it.
did, but she omitted some things that I thought were significant.
Like?
And what things did she omit that you think were significant?
Well, she omitted the fact that she had actually crushed the pills, and I found that to be quite significant.
Why?
And how did you learn that she had crushed the pills?
The same way we all learned when we looked at that picture of that cup that had remnants of crushed pills all over it. You can see it in the picture. Let me see if I can find the picture. This pisses me off. Sorry, hold on a sec, guys. I'm so annoyed by this questioning. I don't really want to show, it's a picture. It's got a bloody knife in it, so I'm just going to give you guys a trigger warning. It's not a great picture, but, okay. So stupid. This is the stupidest shit. Stupidest. All right. Stop screen. Share screen. You gotta go through so many things. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Okay. We've seen these photos were in court. I haven't shown a lot of them to you. So trigger warning, if you want to look away for like 10 seconds, I'm about to show a very, very bloody knife. But the important part is what's next to it. So I don't know if you can see this, but let's see if we can make it bigger. So you see where it says, because kids, do you see all the remnants in there? Do you see all that? That's all crushed up pills in this cup, which Lindsay says, or I'm not even sure where it came from, but the Lindsay says, I think, that this was a cup that was sitting on the bedside table. I'm going to take it off the screen now so you can come back. It was sitting on the bedside table from the night before, and it had lemonade in it. And she just crushed up the pills, dropped them in there, and drank it because it would be less, acidic or whatever. Or the lemonade would hide the pill taste or whatever. And this guy Wait till you hear what he says about crushing up pills. I honestly don't know if he has ever humaned before after these comments.
I learned after interviewing her husband, Patrick, and he went through that evening and talked about coming to the home and the like, and mentioned that on the bedside table, there was a wine tumbler with powdered medication, crushed up medication, that there was still some in the wine tumbler.
It wasn't powdered. And
And I
also,
have not,
just to be clear,
heard
no one from Massachusetts State Police tested that tumbler, just so you guys are aware. Nobody tested it. So we don't really know what was in it. This is what she told us, and this is what Patrick found after he went back in the house.
I mean, she had not told me that she had actually crushed medication. And I know that in Dr. Resnick's report, and also in what Lindsay Clancy told me, that she had lemonade in that wine tumbler when she took the overdose. And when I asked Patrick Clancy, he told me that he didn't think they had any lemonade in the house. That was not typical.
Patrick is wrong. Maybe Patrick isn't the one who bought the lemonade. Maybe Patrick doesn't do the grocery shopping. Maybe Patrick isn't responsible for making sure they have lemonade in the house for the kids. You got 3 kids under the age of 6. I'm going to assume you have something like lemonade in the house. So this guy is calling that inconsistent. But wait till you hear what he also calls inconsistent.
At all.
And Doctor, what is the significance? I'm sorry, were you not finished?
You done with it? Hold on. You done with that answer? All right. Next question.
And so, Doctor, what is the significance to you, if anything, of this atypical use of lemonade and the crushed powder in the cup?
What?
You say what is atypical?
I think you just said that Patrick Clancy said it wasn't typical to have lemonade, correct?
Correct.
So is there any significance
You
to
don't know
to
if
the
it
fact
was
that there
lemonade. It
in
wasn't
the cup
tested.
and that there was powder residue in the cup? Or strike that. Was there any significance to the fact that Lindsay Clancy told you that there was lemonade in the cup and that Patrick Clancy saw powdered residue in the cup?
Yes, I mean, it makes sense that lemonade would be in a cup if you're trying to take an overdose of medication that you've crushed, just because of the bitterness that these pills have. So that made sense. I asked her more about the lemonade, and she told me that it had been in the wine tumbler from the night before.
Okay. Why doesn't he want to talk about crushing up the pills, you guys?
The decision-making process, like what types of decisions is she making? Are you referring to, what to take and how to take it and when to take it and when to cut herself, those types of decisions?
Well, crushing pills is really a challenge. If you don't have the right.
Crushing pills is really a challenge, is what he just said. Let me query the chat. How many of you have crushed up pills? How hard is it?
Well,
and also, look how long it took him to answer this question. Like, what the pause before he answers this, like he's coming up with a fucking dissertation in his head. Listen to this.
Like, what types of decisions is she making? Are you referring to, what to take and how to take it and when to take it and when to cut herself, those types of decisions?
Well, crushing pills is.
Keep in mind, guys, I'm on 1.5 speed. I am on 1 point. Let's see what happens if I want to see how long this pause actually is. Oh God, this is going to be awful. Okay, here we go.
What to take and how to take it and when to take it and when to cut herself, those types of decisions?
Well, crushing pills is really a challenge if you don't have the right equipment. If you don't have the right equipment. You can use your thumb, sir. You can just crush, grind, do all those things, dump it into the cup. What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck is he talking about? You don't have the right equipment? You come equipped with the right equipment. You have elbows. You could do it with your elbow. You could do it with your thumb. You could do it with your nose, your foot. You don't need equipment to crush up pills. Is he insane? I don't think he's ever done. I'm not sure if he's human. have like a mortar and a pestle that they might have in a pharmacy.
A mortar and a pestle to crush up. You need to have a mortar and a pestle to crush up pills. That is true, Lady Harlot. You are absolutely right. Maybe this is it. Not every lesbian has finger strength. True. I don't, my thumb doesn't get used very often, but come on. He just said, if you don't have a mortar and a pestle, it's real difficult to crush pills. Really? Because I see a piece of equipment right there in the photo that I just showed you guys, which is a giant bloody knife. Like, have y'all ever chopped garlic? Like, you know how you take your big flat knife and you smash it on top of the garlic, and that easily takes the wrapper off the garlic, and then you just you cut it right up, you smash it with your knife. Has he never seen an addict who crushes up pills use a spoon? Could she not have used the bottom of the cup? We don't really know because the cup wasn't tested. It wasn't a fine powder. We could see the remnants of the pills on the cup. I'm belaboring this because this is what the attorney, this is what Frack here really wanted him to get to. Her sequential, like the fact that they're saying she wasn't having psychosis because she was able to crush up pills and put them into a lemonade cup and drink it. Are you fucking kidding me?
And so what I wondered about was that process of crushing the pills to the point that they were powder, in order then to put them in lemonade.
They weren't powder.
Then, drink them. And so that is, to crush pills, significant number of pills into fine powder is not an easy thing to do, particularly if you don't have the right equipment. It's just kind of...
Any woman on this jury is like, are you fucking kidding me right now, dude? Are you? They must be like, do you have pill crushing equipment? I don't have pill crushing equipment. Do you have it? I don't have pill crushing equipment. Do you? What is he talking about?
Just kind of a laborious process.
Laborious to crush pills.
So, and she also did not, it was Patrick Clancy who told me about the door being locked. And she told me she did not recall locking the door.
Mince is using the knife. That's not what I'm talking about,
of-
Miss K. What I'm talking about is when you first take a clove of garlic out and it's still got the skin on it, the part you don't want. You take your knife, you put your garlic down, you take your knife and you, on the flat side, and you smash it with your hand. And then when you do that, it peels, it comes apart, and then you can mince it. My point is that you take the flat side of a knife and you crush it. You do that to crush juices out of certain fruits. You use the flat side of your knife. I mean, she had a knife sitting right there, but let's forget about the knife. She had a cup sitting right there. Let's forget about the cup. She had there was like a little black container. I don't even know what was in it. She had so many flat objects sitting right next to the cup with which she could have used to crush the pills, not into a fine powder, because we could see the picture. They weren't crushed into a fine powder. They were just smashed and then thrown into a cup. This is crazy. And the fact that they're hanging their hat on this is their last witness. This is the end of their direct. This is what they're hanging their hat on. Her sequential movements. Decision making.
Ms. Clancy's ability to execute the strangulation of her children. Is there anything about how she did it, what she did, that stood out to you in your evaluation?
Yes.
And what is that?
Ms. Clancy told me that she, after the phone call with her husband, she returned the call, that was when she took Dawson down.
Okay, we're not gonna. This is how they end. This is why you know that what's important to them is making the jury, traumatizing the jury, making them uncomfortable, and making them feel emotional about the kids. Because what he does right here is he explains the sequential order in which she unalived the children and how she did it. And not like the graphic details of how she did it, but how she maneuvered the children into the basement. And it's disgusting. It's despicable. We don't need to hear it again. It's been happening this whole trial. I am over it. Let's see where we end here.
Where Ms. Clancy is holding Callan.
Okay, no. So that's it. They end the day there. This examination is not over. We're in day 21 right now. Let me just check in and see where we are in court right now, actually. So that's how they ended that day. They wanted to make sure they left the jury with, you know, him describing this horrific thing that happened and how she was able to, that's my voice. That's not what I wanted to hear. How she maneuvered the children. And it's just, it's gross. It's despicable. I'm sick of it. I agree with everything that, oh my God, I just lost her name. Valerie said in her article or in her post about Northeastern propping up these attorneys. Okay, court's on a short break. We're only 2 hours into court right now. Let's see. Court's on a lot of short breaks, apparently. I don't know. Maybe let's see. Ugh. Frickin' frack. You're so gross. Hold on. I'm just watching something. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what the schedule is. Hold on. We're looking at the crowd again. Everybody better be looking fucking somber is all I gotta say. No smiling and winking at the camera, dipshits. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is how the day started today. Let's get rid of this chat because it drives me nuts. Chat.
You at that point and have you come back tomorrow. All right. Portion to the actions. And so what we're going to do is that they've seen, heard, or overheard anything.
These are all the questions he's got to ask them.
About any aspect about this case that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial. All right. Second, is there any other serious matter or concern bearing on your service as a juror in this case anybody needs to address at this time? Again, thank you so much for following those instructions. And so what we're going to do, as I said yesterday, we're going to continue with the testimony of the doctor who was on the stand yesterday. And it's anticipated that that is the last witness in the trial. And then we will then take a break, because before we go to the
Lindsay's
next portion of the trial, which is the closing arguments and the legal instructions, the court has to make some arrangements. They've got to speak to counsel. So it takes a little while. So I'm going to excuse you at that point.
Sitting next to Bob.
Tomorrow. All right. So we're going to finish the evidence today. We're going to excuse you. I'm going to then deal with counsel. And then we will do, hopefully, arguments in charge tomorrow. All right. So again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate everybody's.
So they're going to finish up with this witness, the guy who's the FBI guy, today. And then it sounds like they're going to take a break. Let me look and see where we are. Okay, so still on direct, still on direct, still on direct. Cross, 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 cross. Let's just see if the Commonwealth rests before they go on break. Hold on here.
GABA dysfunction, right?
That certainly would be possible.
Do you know that, or you're just agreeing with me?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
I'm going to take a short break.
I don't care. I'm just saying that.
You want me to keep going? I love you so much. You want me to keep going? I don't care. I don't care. Whatever you want, Judge. It's your courtroom, Judge. Okay, so as of right now, in real time, they are on a short break, which means cross-examination is still happening. And let me take this ticker off. I just realized it was still on. So we're definitely going to go over all of this. Wait, tomorrow is Thursday. Let me think about this. I'm trying to figure out if I can get this done today with y'all. I'm going to need a break because I've been on for almost 4 hours. All right, let me take a quick break. Not a quick break. I'm going to take like an hour break. I need an hour. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back on probably, let's see, it's 11:45. So maybe I will hop back on around 1 or 2, maybe 1. We'll do 1. And then I will try to get through what the rest of the testimony from today so we can keep this on schedule. That way tomorrow is Wednesday. No, tomorrow's Thursday. Closing arguments will happen tomorrow. Rebecca and I will be on tomorrow night. So I'll be able to focus on covering the closings with you guys when I stream around 12. So that's what I'm going to do. If you guys are able to join me, great. I know it's been a long day already. But let's take an hour and 15, hour and a half break, come back and try to get through this with this fucking guy. This fucking guy. Let me just look at the chat really quick before I head out of here. I gotta go get some protein in me. Okay. Yeah, I'm freaked out that this guy is he must be saying, especially, okay, let's keep this in mind. He's also talking to a Massachusetts jury. A Massachusetts jury who is like, they'll jerry rig anything. Like New England folks, they'll jerry rig anything. If anybody remembers the Maura Murray case, when her dad told her to stuff a towel or a rag in her tailpipe so she wouldn't get pulled over because her car was so loud. That is something my grandfather would have me do. You can't tell a Massachusetts jury that crushing up pills is laborious. Okay? The fuck. Anyway. All right, let's say, so we're going to come back at 1:15. I've made a decision. 1:15, and I'm going to try to get through the rest of this direct and Reddington's Cross today. And if we can't finish it all, I will finish it tomorrow morning early, which I might end up having to do anyway, depending on how long this testimony goes. But for right now, let's plan on 1:15. And if anything changes, I will let you guys know. But I appreciate y'all so much for being here. Thank you so much for engaging and being respectful in the chat. Thank you so much for your Click Cash, the tips that you sent through, your messages, your emails, all the things you guys have been doing to stay engaged in this case. Please go like the video, because liking the video pushes us up in the algorithm. And there are a lot of big channels that are covering this case right now, but they're not doing it the way that we are, which is the trauma-free way. So I want people who are interested in this case and who want to understand what's going on to be able to watch it without being traumatized. So the only way that can happen is if you guys go like the video and you share the channel, and you tell people about it, and you comment, and you do all the things. So anyway, I love you all very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to see you in about an hour and a half. Okay. Be good to each other.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase